Stop me if you've heard this before. New York, Louisville, different venue, same trophy. Lou City is favored now, but last year won't be forgotten in the regular season. And for all the Red Bull struggles, they're right back where they want to be. Will it be heartbreak, heart pounding, high pressure, legacy defining? This is the rematch. The same Eastern Conference finalists as 2016. The tables turned a bit now. New York Red Bulls 2 arriving to Slugger Field, over 10,000 expected as they take on the #1 seed, Louisville City. Hello and welcome alongside Devin Kerr, Mike Watson. We're so excited for this game because these two teams, in a lot of ways, are very complementary styles. And when you look at them both, it's really hard to imagine we're not in for a good game.
I mean, it could be a track beat real quick, Mike. And to be honest, it's two absolutely amazing offensive juggernauts. And I think we're going to see some high profile, high offensive tactics right away. But let's address the elephant in the room right away. What is New York going to do offensively to get things going early, and more importantly, defensively, what are they going to do to stop this very, very, very frightening Louisville attack?
When you think about New York, how about frightening Stefano Bonomo over the course of the last few months has just been playing at a different level.
Bonomo, since coming back from hernia surgery in July, 13 goals in 15 games. He's got 3 goals this postseason. And if New York has any chance to come into this hostile environment here this evening, they've got to make sure that his presence is felt early, often, and intimidate that back line of Louisville so he can build confidence for the entire squad going forward for the rest of the match.
2 goals in the upset at Tampa Bay. On the other side, 2 goals in the postseason for Brian Ownby, but they've come off the bench.
Yeah, shockingly, he's in the starting lineup, but James O'Connor telling us midweek that was a possibility, and Ownby is really, he deserves this. He's proved his performances over the past couple weeks. What an absolutely amazing, stellar performance he's done day in, day out. Game-winning goal last week. You're going to see him check from about 40 yards, plays a great ball back to Kyle Smith, plays it down in. Ownby just goes with speed, goes with pace, beats to the far post, and that young man deserves everything that has coming to him and going on before.
Well, we talk about the rematch. These teams met in the 2016 Eastern Conference Finals. It finished 10-9 in totality. New York goes on to beat Swope Park, and as much as Louisville wants to tell us otherwise, they certainly do remember.
Well, and a lot of coaches will say revenge is not in our conversation whatsoever. I'm sure James O'Connor and his boys have marked this. At the beginning of the year, saw the 2 games, taking them down twice. They're going to go for the TKO and take down the 3rd knockout tonight with this New York Red Bull squad.
Louisville City certainly looking for that measure of revenge. 2 wins in the regular season against New York for the #1 team in the Eastern Conference, the leading scoring team in the East. At least 1 more game at Slugger. For New York, they're the reigning champions and a chance to return to the final. The action is next.
Ever wish your allergies would go away fast? You can stop wishing. Because at Family Allergy and Asthma, we can end your symptoms in as little as 2 days with Rush Allergy Shots. It's the fastest route to relief, and our doctors offer it. Call now.
I had an idea in my mind of where I wanted to be. I had attended a semester prior to joining the military, and I knew I always had a passion for computers. The fastest way for me to get there was through a certificate program at Sullivan University. Currently, I'm a security engineer at Farm Credit Mid-America, and I'm also an instructor at Sullivan University. By bringing my professional experience into the classroom, my students gain real-world knowledge. For me, I'm still learning in my career and from my students. You really never leave the classroom. It follows you everywhere.
The most important financial decisions aren't made in banks. They're made around kitchen tables and on porch swings. They're made over dinner and over coffee by real people trying to do the right thing for their families, today and in the days to come. We understand that. In fact, it's the reason we're here. We're Main Source, and we want to be a great bank for you.
Ever wish your allergies would go away fast? You can stop wishing. Because at Family Allergy and Asthma, we can end your symptoms in as little as 2 days with Rush allergy shots. It's the fastest route to relief, and our doctors offer it. Call now.
The heat is hot. You should have some adult beverages when you go with the heat.
We come here pretty much every Friday now. We've been here several times and we love it.
Everything is fantastic, sides and all.
Chicken and waffles, it's excellent. It's the best place you can get it.
It's so hot, you actually get a buzz from eating this. You come get takeout that tastes like something you cook at home. That's what keeps me coming back.
Slugger Field in Louisville. Here's the lineup for New York Red Bulls 2, and for John Wallenick, they've gotten into a groove. They like the 11 they have.
Well, and I said that the elephant in the room might be the defense of New York, but, you know, watch the boys up top. Bonomo cannot do it in his own. Watch for Flemings, Basulovic, and Velo to get going early to help him out in supporting cast.
On the other side, for Louisville, they make those common changes on the wings among their front three.
Yeah, and Jimenez Smith, they'll be very active. Watch for Ownby to continue his performance with last week. Partner up with Spencer and Kay up top. Move forward. Excellence.
Soren Stoika's whistle will get us going. It's the purple of Louisville, the red and white of New York Red Bulls 2. Last year, this came at Red Bull Arena. This year, Luke Spencer kicks us off at Slugger Field. It's the rematch of the 2016 Eastern Conference Final. Louisville and New York bring it to this 2017 Eastern Conference Final. Take on the winner of OKC or Swope Park next week on Monday night. Evan Loro picks it up. His 21st start of the season. Scarlett knocked it ahead. He was questionable with a hamstring injury coming into the night. Does get the call to start. Velo pushes it forward. Cutler. Headed down by Scarlett. Speedy Williams, the former New York Red Bull 2 player, who does have a ring with the Red Bulls from last year's USL Cup victory. This portion of tonight's broadcast presented by Plainview Apartments, the official housing partner of Louisville City. Brian Ownby cutting it across. Kay moving toward the ball. It's out of play. It's a corner here for Louisville in the second minute.
And that's got to be interesting for Speedy Williams to be on the other side of the coin here this evening. And like you mentioned, Mike, going against his old teammates, or some of them at least, and trying to gain 2 in a row, but professional, going to get back on track and get things going. He's done very well for this Louisville squad this year.
Captain's armband on Paolo Del Piccolo. Starts in holding midfield. Bounds away from Tarek Morad, who scored twice in the playoff opener against Bethlehem Steel, and all the way back to Speedy Williams. Jimenez trying to unlock Kay, will hold up. Canadian international taking over. Putting Najum on skates, cleared by Endom. As far as Williams, out of the reach of Spencer.
And very well done by Mark Anthony, using that speed and big frame of his to get him behind the back line, and didn't have anybody to support him, able to hold the ball up for his boys.
Jimenez right into Loro. First shot for Louisville City comes in the 3rd minute.
And that's what you want to do as a player. You want to obviously take your opportunities when you get them, but in the early moments of the game, get the jitters out of the way, test the goalkeeper a little bit, keep him honest.
Hassan Endom. Seeks out Stefano Bonomo. It's a throw, according to Brooke Mayo, the assistant referee on the far side touchline tonight. Paco Craig to throw. He was ejected with a red card in the 120th minute meeting between these teams at Red Bull Arena last year. Metzger back, and Cutler struggled a bit with the surface on that touch, but turned over. It's Ethan Cutler. Teneri, the give and go, broken up by Del Piccolo. Flemings knocked off his foot, back to Metzger.
And you can see right off the bat, New York coming out of the gate, maintaining some decent possession, moving into the final third of Louisville and having trouble containing them, Louisville is.
Flemings backheeled toward the corner again. It's a throw for Flemings and New York. So it was initially called, and now the official will wave it the other direction. I think one of the interesting things that we're going to be looking at, and we spoke with both head coaches over the course of this week, how does the high press, the 4-2-3-1 press that New York is known for, play up against a Louisville side that last time these teams met played a bit more direct to get away from that pressure? As Kay off the head of Scarlett.
Yeah, with New York, you have to be real careful with that high press for obvious reasons. Louisville very talented going forward. Their outside, their wingbacks like to get up and down the pitch, pushing into channels. That's going to cause disruption if New York aren't able to cause those turnovers on the high press, which means they're going to have to track back and defend much more aggressively as the match continues.
Sulovich knocked it back. Here's Cutler, the outside back, 21 years old, from Cooperstown in New York. Tenari. That hit on the ground, nothing to it. Najum. Ball really not sticking to New York's foot very much in the opening 5.5 minutes.
Very choppy for sure, and you can see both squads trying to get their bearings straight. Louisville looking very flustered, but again, credit to New York, doing a good job with that high line. You referenced, Mike, of kind of flustering them a little bit coming out of the back.
Menez goes down. Kay stepped in. The low. Back for Metzger. Up the right-hand touchline. Craig and Del Piccolo converging. To Jimenez, leads the way in the USL in chances created this year.
Head referee saw a little tug and twirl by Dan Metzger on Mark Anthony Kay up top. Mark Anthony saying no problem, no harm, no foul. Appreciate it, buddy. It's always nice to make yourself aware to your neighbor in the early moments of a match. It's very polite.
Is that what happened when you were doing it?
I consistently use that as a proper introduction as opposed to an excuse, and the referee currently or usually rewarded me with verbal abuse, if you will, not in a positive manner, sometimes even in the form of a colorful exploitation of yellow or red.
Red?
Yes, multiple times in the opening moments of a match. We'll leave that for later on, though.
Devin Kerr leaving his team at an odd man disadvantage early in games. Conference finals, winner will take on Swoper, Oklahoma City on Monday night next week on ESPNU. Scoreless between New York and Louisville, 7 minutes in. Advantage played, Velo from distance, top of the 18, fires it out of play and into a packed supporters section, led by the Coopers for Louisville City tonight.
And decent ball movement by New York coming forward, and nice little combination play, 1-2 in and out. When ball coming into Velo like that, it's going to take something special from about 22 yards out, cutting the ball across to beat Greg Ranjetsing. Extremely talented back there between the pipes.
International for Trinidad and Tobago was on the bench when the United States was eliminated from the World Cup. That fateful World Cup qualifier.
And that was difficult for this Louisville squad. I mean, obviously a lot of very capable professionals on this squad, but Ranjetsing was gone. At the same time, Mark Anthony was gone with the Canadian national team. So a nod to those boys going to represent their countries at the national level at the top of the pyramid. But at the same point in time, James O'Connor having to scramble and move some pieces around to make sure they could continue on down the path and hold that 1 seed.
Should be noted, Trinidad and Tobago have scheduled 2 friendlies for next week. So Greg Ranjetsing may have to make a decision. There's a foul, 10 yards off the far touchline, maybe 25, 30 yards upfield. And New York will have a free kick.
And you can see Craig just coming in late on Florian Velo as the ball's drifting into the middle of the park. And Soren Stoica going to have a word with Craig, saying, I got my eye on you. we talked about keeping keepers honest in the opening moments of a game. Don't expect New York to have a go here, but watch for something special. Swung into the back post, maybe a ball to the back post, out swinging, and then headed down back to the near post, give somebody a chance to run onto it.
It's Teneri who drives a low ball right in to Williams, who knocks it out into the Louisville bench for a throw.
He's got to do better from there. That's poor service.
Basulovic moving toward the corner, slip ball through. Flag is down, ball in front. Ranjetsingh down to get it, untouched by Bonomo. But a touch may have been enough had he gotten there. And a long drive ahead off the chest of Spencer, runs into Scarlett. Play continuing still toward the byline, kept in by Endom. And Scarlett sends a souvenir into the near side touchline. How about Brian Ownby drawing the start here in this one? 10th minute, scoreless.
I mean, if you're James O'Connor and I'm in his mind, you have to wonder how he doesn't give him the nod. Ownby just continuously proving down the stretch that he is more than capable of filling that role up top, and he was just absolutely amazing.
Jimenez toward the back post. Ownby threw his head out at it, nearly got hit by Cutler's high boot. Instead, Indoloro makes that catch.
And speaking of amazing, Brian Ownby trying to give us an amazing feat of a diving header to the back post. They're trying to beat Evan Loro, but that was exactly what he started to do last game. He flustered that back line early and often in the opening moments of the second half, and great ball in here by Jimenez. And Ownby just trying to get in on that back post. That's difficult, though. You're switching your run, guys cutting across your body, trying to head it back across the box. But again, that's what Louisville wants to do. Continue to push that back line, hold this high line in the final third, and fluster that back line of the New York Red Bulls.
Soren Stoica blowing play dead as that ball forward. Been intercepted by a member of Red Bulls 2. There was a foul behind the play, and so Louisville City take over. Tark Morad, a long ball. Off the head of Luke Spencer. Comes down to Ownby in the area, who twirls a shot in! Brian Ownby scoring an unbelievable goal! And Louisville City have the lead. '12th minute, Louisville leading in the conference finals.
Well, fairy tales do come true. It could happen to you, and what a fairy tale book this has been in this postseason for Brian Ownby. You can see the ball played in, Spencer trying to give a little bit of a nudge to it, couldn't get to it. Domino effect, Ownby with his own little version of a pirouette, and just a classy finish by Brian Ownby to the far post to beat Evan Loro and put Louisville up here in the opening moments of the first half, and he is on cloud 9 for sure. And hey, you know what? Credit to James O'Connor. I said he needed to continue that confidence and push Ownby into the next game here, and he's done so far.
That was a Lou City goal brought to you by the Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education. The Kentucky Lottery comes in the 12th minute, his third of the postseason. And Louisville looking for more as Smith driving up the right-hand touchline and service across off the chest of Spencer forward towards Kay and cleared. Out to Del Piccolo. Ball on the ground, deflected by Spencer. Kay lost the handle. Endom intercepted, if only momentarily. Spencer puts it in the air, through ball by Ownby. Play will come back. Flag must have been up. It didn't seem like there was any other reason to stop that flow.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike, and I'll tell you what, you can see the frustration starting to mount here in the early moments of this game for the very non-stingy back line of New York Red Bulls, and they can score a million goals, but if you can't stop them, you know, what are you going out there for? And we talked about that with Coach during the middleweight, John Woliniak, telling us that, you know what, we're not going to divert from our game plan. We're going to continue to do what we do and go out and play New York-style soccer, and they're proving that in the early moments. They came out hot, but over the last 3-4 minutes, Louisville doing a good job breaking down this back line.
Spencer trying to hold up play. He really wasn't the first forward in the rotation. Cameron Lancaster dealing with injuries all year long. Spencer's back to goal play has made him a unique commodity for this Louisville side, and maybe throughout the entire Eastern Conference. Few better at that role.
And you and I have chatted about his
Cutler ball over the top, launched toward Bonomo. he goes down inside the penalty area. He got his feet caught up.
We chatted about his rise to prominence through this Louisville squad and how O'Connor has kind of switched things around and filled the appropriate roles where they need be. And like you said, credit to Luke Spencer. He's definitely filled some big shoes up top, and they know how to utilize him well and often.
And Dom won the initial header. Cutler playing Najum. 14 minutes gone. Louisville a 1-0 lead over New York. Lobbed out of play by Tenari. A throw in for Jimenez. Bounces toward James O'Connor, head man of this Louisville City franchise. Player down for New York. Referee over to check.
And we're going to get another look here. Mike, ball just knocked in, and yeah, I think Andrew Tenari just took a little ricochet as Paulo Del Piccolo was trying to knock a ball up top to Spencer, and Tenari just trying to get his bearings back as his body has been put through the whirlwind over the past 30 seconds.
Tenari's twin sister Morgan played for the St. John's Red Storm. He went to Columbia, 3-time first team All Ivy League. 22-year-old. This portion of tonight's telecast presented by official partner of Louisville City, Sullivan University.
And if you're a New York squad, you know you're in a hostile environment on the road, Slugger Stadium, and just you get snake bitten in the early moments of the game. Again, I thought they started well, but they have not continued that momentum. And what you want to be careful of is you don't want to let that progress any further than you need to. You know, settle it down, realize we get it. You're down 1-0, but you're only 15 minutes into the match. There is a boatload more to play. And just get back to your game plan. And John needs to start barking that from the sidelines, because there is a boatload of spacing between the midfield and this back line of New York.
Space for Smith to probe up the right-hand side. Omby lets it roll further. Collides with Cutler. Lauro would have made that catch, but kicked out by Jordan Scarlett, who's had an impressive season since joining the squad in the middle of the year.
And interestingly enough, Ethan Cutler was expecting a little help there. He thought maybe Hassan Ndam was going to step over. Gave a little verbal frustration towards him when he got done there. As again, we continue to call Brian Ownby's name time and time again.
That was out near the corner flag. It's a corner for Louisville City in the 17th minute. They've got a 1-0 lead. Del Piccolo service caught by Lauro. Made his pro debut with a shutout against Richmond earlier this year. Last year, one of the understudies to Ryan Merrill was Rafael Diaz. He started 14 games. Lauro coming in from the University of Michigan and grabbing the starting job with both hands. A homegrown player for these New York Red Bulls too. Ball launched into space. Kay is after it. Little touch from Scarlett. Back to Lauro.
Keep an eye on Jordan Scarlett as he knocked that ball back across. We mentioned the hamstring he's been nursing a little bit. Kind of winced a little bit, so watch that one-on-one battle, as they've got a lot of speed up top, Louisville does.
Lofted ball to the halfway line. Louisville controls initially. Ball got away from Smith and out for a New York throw. Red Bulls have won 2 in a row. Their last 3-game win streak came at the end of 2016. It included that win over Louisville, which I suppose you could also call a draw based on its merit, finishing on 1-1. Turned over on the flighted ball from Ranjitsingh. The K there to corral. And a touch. Spencer. Finally, New York controlling in the 19th.
And interestingly enough, Mike, you brought up that win streak. They actually coming down the stretch were 6-3-2 in their final 11 games. And as you continue to track back and look at their performances, April, May, June, July, they didn't carry a winning record up until that closing stretch. So, you know, basically played 500 ball the entire season and just kind of turned the jet stream on got a nice little push to come down, and they squeaked their way into that seventh spot, and have definitely carried the momentum going forward in the playoffs.
And there is an element of, you look at Swope Park, they finished 4th. That's where they finished last year. They never once went on the road last year. It worked out that way with the 1-8 upset and ended up going on the road and falling to New York. For New York, last year, they were the #1 seed, the dominant force in the USL. As it comes to Bonomo, 20 yards away from net. Bounces out to Kay for Louisville. Chance to get into space, and Omby's touch lets him down. Cutler takes it. But New York this year has had to play the role of the underdog. Back to Bonomo. Drives a shot off the facing of the upper deck.
Well, and they've played that underdog role quite well. You know, they've gone on the road and beaten teams where they shouldn't have. I mean, go back to last week. Who would have thought they were going to go on the Lang Field and do that to Tampa Bay?
Well, and Charleston and Tampa Bay both had combined to give up 3 home losses all year, and they both lose to New York in fairly dominant fashion in Charleston, and in Tampa Bay a much closer match.
And again, Bonomo just putting something special together in his performance last week in extra time. But again, they have to do something, because you can see there's just way too much opportunity for this Louisville squad to continue to push into this space. Eventually, the dam is going to break down.
Smith got it through the legs of his defender Cutler, and Omby in the end slides it out of play off a deflection. And a corner coming 20 minutes in Louisville ahead on the goal by Brian Omby in the 12th.
See another look here. Kyle Smith just getting down into the channel, playing a nice ball in behind the back line. But again, that's a situation right there. We talked about Jordan Scarlett and his hamstring. You've got a runner coming across your body. Why do you even take a touch in the box? Clear it, let your team push out and reset.
Del Piccolo, the corner, high arcing to the back post, bounces off the back of the defense and cleared. Throw for Jimenez. At the halfway line, found Kay. Strolls ahead, looking for Spencer, slides in. Cutler colliding with him. Ball bounces free for Smith. Crowd to their feet. Ball line back, off of Williams and forward for Kay. Cleared as far as Del Piccolo. On the ground, Spencer gives it back. Del Piccolo into the box, just wide. A toe poke that just missed, putting Louisville ahead by 2.
And that is exactly the role James O'Connor has asked Luke Spencer to play all year long. You can see Del Piccolo making a great run coming up through the middle. Ball into Spencer, laid right back off. And a nice little poke to the back post. Could not put it in behind Evan Laurel, but Louisville starting to get everybody involved in this ferocious attack going forward.
Hey fans, stay up to date on all the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast. Back at Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM FC Channel 85. Don't forget that SiriusXM FC airs select USL games, including this one. Check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. Guest on that show was Evan Laurel, goalkeeper for New York, as well as Jimmy Nielsen from Oklahoma City, who's making just his 2nd appearance at Children's Mercy Park in Kansas City since he retired. Went back and got his ring, and now he's bringing the energy in to take Swope Park.
And how about the energy and their offensive performances coming down the stretch? And Jimmy, he just said, you know, this is probably one of the best squads that I've had in terms of the camaraderie and things that have gone on in the locker room, and they are definitely not lacking for confidence.
Ball lobbed ahead, bounces off of Smith, and out for a corner.
And I think someone else you need to give credit to was interesting trade between St. Louis and OKC going back. Daniel Jackson being sent over to St. Louis, and Jose Angulo since coming over. A lot of people were critical of his performances and what was going on behind the scenes, but he's stepped up and he's really proven his wealth.
And Danny Koenig going to Cincinnati and bringing in Andy Craven, who they had at the end of 2016. Jimmy Nielsen correctly shuffling the deck as needed. Corner for Teneri and New York in the 24th. And he did not put it in play at all, to the applause of this partisan Louisville crowd.
See the Coopers having a little fun with Teneri down in the corner. What an amazing atmosphere it is here tonight, huh? 24th minute, up 1-0. just continuing to push loads of pressure forward against New York, and you're expecting New York at some point in time to kind of counterpunch, if you will, because except for the first 5 or 10 minutes, it's really been all Louisville.
And for Louisville last week, James O'Connor isn't really one for anecdote, but he did tell us he has never been so happy to get to a locker room at 0-0 as he was last week against Rochester, and felt that the team themselves were the ones that really wanted to put in the better performance. They really didn't need to give that big pep talk.
Yeah, Mike, the exact words that he said to us were disappointed but fortunate, and that, you know, the guys really just wanted to prove what they were capable of and go out and show everybody that we deserve to be the #1 seed. We deserve to move on to get the opportunity to take down the Eastern Conference Championship.
Jimenez, parallel to the top of the 18. Spencer knocks it back. Can Williams get there to keep the ball? He did from Flemings, if only for a moment. Velo takes it away, who grew up a youth product of PSG, spent time with Monaco before coming to the United States and playing collegiate ball at Rider. Lob for Sean Toach, who knocked off this Louisville franchise in the 2015 USL Cup playoffs en route to a title with Rochester. Jetsing heading the ball as he leaps outside his 18. Big collision with Basulovic, the Georgetown product, who remains down.
I don't think Basulovic saw Jetsing coming whatsoever with that big 6'2" frame. Who would expect a goalkeeper to be 20 yards off his line outside the box?
Claims service forward for Flemings and plays to the feet of Smith. At the halfway line, it's Williams and Louisville. Jimenez slipped through. Kay tried to cut it back instead off of Hassan Ndam. And a corner for Louisville in the 26th minute. And the home side up 1-0 over New York.
Yeah, and rightfully so. They've carried much of the better possession. Definitely been more dangerous coming into the final third. You've seen a couple things here and there from New York, but not too much to write home about so far.
Quick corner that Teneri was quick to sniff out. Kay playing with the ball at his feet like a yo-yo, crossing into Laurel.
Thought I was going to be able to continue that and say walk the dog right into the back of the goal.
If only.
If only.
One of the big stories in the USL this year have been these players. The Eastern Conference has had its fair share of Gold Cup participants. Spencer was in an offside position trying to make his turn toward net. But Kay really stood out for Canada. Speedy Williams getting the call up to Jamaica of late. Trinidad and Tobago calling in Ranjit Singh. And you really go down the line. Romario Williams in the Eastern Conference with Charleston really showed out for Jamaica. Positive international performances as this ball bounces back. Ranjit Singh trying to slap the ball back in play. It's out for a corner on a misplayed ball by the Louisville defense.
And it's really a testament to where and how far the USL has come, and they continue to just push absolutely amazing experience and talent into this league each and every week. I mean, you're consistently hearing of players coming up and being signed and this, that, and the other, so it's great for this league going forward.
Pushing and shoving as Soren Stoica in to make some peace. Over 9,000 tickets sold. That was before the walk-up. Temperatures in the 60s. No rain in the forecast. Service in, bounces off of Flemings and out for a goal kick.
And that's the third or fourth ball in a row that we've seen from a dead ball situation where just poor service from New York coming forward. You know, you had the one at the high part of the box at the start of the game, first opening moments. I said, look for something to be played into the back, pinged it right into the wall, and not even with a strike. It was just a terrible service. And then two corner kicks, one of which just knocked out behind the goal. Ranjit Singh had no issue with it whatsoever. The Coopers had no problem making their words felt to the Portinari, and then again, just another ball that's you're hitting in an outswinging ball with a forward trying to come and flick it onto the back post. They need to do much better going forward.
Junior Fleming's trying to get in behind, and Paco Craig is up to that task and sends a ball ahead. Can Kay catch up? He did. Slowing down on Endom all the way to the byline, pushed over, and that's out for a goal kick.
How about the ball from Paco Craig and his resurgence into the squad, and Mark Anthony Kay showing his long legs. Part of the reason he got that call up to the Canadian national team.
Hey, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the United Soccer League. More information by visiting NikeSoccer.com. Nearing the half-hour mark with Louisville ahead. 1-0 over New York in the Eastern Conference Final. Ball ahead. Flemings. It's out of his reach despite the really strong speed from the Jamaican. 9 goals on the year for Junior Flemings. Part of a group that's been asked to replace Brandon Allen, sent on loan to Minnesota. In addition to Derek Etienne, who only played 7 or 8 games with Red Bulls 2 this year. They're also missing Vincent Bezecourt, who scored 6 times and assisted 8 more. Ownby for Spencer. Comes out to Florian Velo. Williams took it away. Ownby tried to slip it up the right-hand touchline. Return to sender, and now Del Piccolo up the left-hand side for Jimenez. And Flemings was fouled trying to get out in transition on the turnover.
You can see the referee was trying to let them play on a little bit there, but Fleming's touch after he got bumped just a little bit too far out in front of him, and rightfully so, blowing the whistle. Couldn't play the advantage to New York. And if you're New York, 15 minutes left to go in the first half. Use this as an opportunity. You're right at the midline. Kind of push some numbers forward and put Louisville on their heels a little bit. Try and cause a little frustration in that back line. Maybe slot something away just before half.
The USL is one of the most prominent second division professional leagues in the world. It features some of the game's top talent and its rising stars. Stay up to date, all the latest league news and information by visiting USLsoccer.com. Give them a follow on Twitter at USL, including the lone goal in this game already on the USL Twitter feed. Brian Ownby in the 12th. With Devin Kerr, Mike Watts alongside Slugger Field. Louisville a 1-0 lead. Last year this went to penalties in the Eastern Conference Final. New York would win that game en route to their first USL Cup championship. Game where Louisville jumped ahead in the 11th, but Velo responded in the 74th. Well, Louisville scoring in the 12th isn't far away from that. Ranjitsingh picks this up in the 33rd and controls in his own box.
And you can see a little bit more frustration from New York this time around, though. And I think that frustration has been present in all of their outings against Louisville this year. Again, these teams meeting for the 3rd time, and just each and every match, Louisville having their number, and the Red Bulls just can't get it sorted out.
3-0 Louisville in Montclair, New Jersey. And 2-1 here at Slugger. Both goals in that game coming off set pieces for Louisville. Back for Cutler. Springing Flemings on the right-hand side. Craig came out to defend, a throw to New York. Fleming's a foot in. Jimenez is down. And out for a goal kick, and Jimenez remains down.
And Jimenez just stepping in, trying to win a 50-50 ball, winning really hard for a clearance. And I think that was Junior Fleming stepping in on the tackle, just colliding. Maybe caught a little bit of ankle-to-ankle action, but shake it off, get up, get moving again. You're going to get another look here as New York just doing a good job moving down the field a little bit here, and that's exactly what it was. Jimenez just trying to clear the ball, Fleming stepping in.
Lineups are in for Oklahoma City and Swope Park. Guldo and Vucic leading the line for Energy FC side that hopes to break through. They've been to the Western Conference Final 2 of the last 3 years. Jimmy Nielsen, the longest tenured coach in the Western Conference, and that can be seen on USL Match Center. If Louisville wins, the game will be in Louisville. If New York wins, the game will be at the Western Conference champions home field. Ball up the left for Omby. Service popped up off that. A Cutler right on the goal line, punched away, if only for a moment, by Laurel. Now a second punch to keep it out. Stoica impeded the defender. Smith gets the ball up the right-hand side. For Louisville toward the corner. Circling around and simply will win a throw.
And again, Louisville just had so much room to play, and they are exploiting it left and right, and then tracking back even further. Once the opportunity does come into the box, what is Evan Lauro doing? That ball's up in the air. He's got plenty of height. Even though Luke Spencer is a large, big physical presence, he's got the capability to get up higher. He goes up to get it, only uses one hand to punch unsuccessfully, has to then track back a second time. He needs to do much better with his decision-making when he's in the box. He needs to take much more command.
Ranjit Singh, start number 24 this year. He's got 10 shutouts for Louisville City. Have themselves just one loss in their last 11 going back to the regular season. Spencer got up to put his head to it. Lauro will collect on the dive as Omby came charging through. Cross midfield from Cutler. A return from Velo deflects out. Nomo is able to hold on. Omby launching it into the stands.
And to be fair to New York, I said right around the 30-minute mark, you know, you're in the final third. Give yourself an opportunity now. It was on a restart, try and push forward. They had been a little bit better, but again, Louisville just showing us that almost at the drop of a dime or a moment's notice, they just turn the switch on, push forward, and can just do whatever they want. Ethan Cutler and Dom Scarlett, they all need to communicate a little bit better because, again, there's just too much space for this squad to play.
Scarlett for Velo as they clear a bit of Louisville pressure. Off the head of Scarlett and down to Endam. Endam again out of Cameroon. Spencer acting as his shadow. Launches ahead. Louisville had it for a moment. Metzger. Craig wins the throw for Louisville City. Here's Jimenez. 77 chances created, according to Opta, led the United Soccer League this year. Large part because he is so good on set pieces and restarts to create chances.
And it's interesting to see how his performances have kind of evolved and shifted over the course of the season. As you mentioned, Mike, he's so dangerous on the set pieces. You'll see him on the corner, dead ball situations out of the top of the box. But then, you know, like tracking back a couple weeks for Charlotte, you saw him spraying balls left and right all over the pitch, knocking 30, 40-yard balls. So very capable of filling multiple roles for this Louisville squad.
And Dom will take over. It's a free kick for New York. Jesse Marchand, great physical attributes, showing a lot of promise in the U20 pool, part of the U17s previously for Cameroon. Scarlett to the other side, the third-round pick in the 2017 Super Draft by the Red Bulls. Kay Rolling ahead, Spencer. Scarlett did enough, sticking his foot back to dispossess. Bonomo can't spin away with the ball at his feet. Intercepted by New York. Sliding challenge, got it back for Louisville. Sent ahead for Ownby. Ownby scored once tonight, 3 times in the playoffs with his left foot curling. Oh, wide from 25 yards away.
Brian Ownby showing you that the confidence is continuing to carry him week in and week out as he just grabs the ball, picks it up. Not a lot of intention there. Touches it inside, has a little go to the back post, but didn't really have anybody in support. So, hey, you know what? Why not take an opportunity and have a go at go? Evan Lauro is proving that he's a little bit shaky back there tonight.
Jimenez will cut this out. 40th minute, Louisville a 1-0 lead. Garnered in the 12th. Brian Ownby. Really impressive goal for Lou City. Red Bulls 2 coming off a 2-1 extra time win at Tampa Bay. Bonomo scoring twice. Ristov scored first. Bonomo couldn't keep the ball again for New York. Touch inside by Kay. Went right to Scarlett.
Bonomo being the main reason that I was knocked out of my soccer bowl, if you will, almost on the first day. Of course, just, you know, friendly wager.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the March Madness of USLs, it might be.
The madness went to insane real quick on my end as I lost quite a few teams in the opening matches.
There's a time in the West where it looked like everybody could go down. Reno and Real Monarchs both going down in the first round. Ball towards the net. Caught by Ranjetsing as he backed toward the goal line.
Yeah, that was probably one of the, obviously the biggest surprises to everyone on the first day, Sacramento Republic taking down Real Monarchs. But I think the biggest thing there was Real Monarchs just, one of the things they were was consistent all season long, and going into that game just couldn't get anything going at all. And even all the way through extra time and into penalties, they just didn't look like they cared. There was no emotion or want or desire, if you will. And credit Sacramento, they saw it out and they were able to take down the Monarchs.
Ball kicked away by Metzger as Spencer is moving toward goal. James O'Connor and no rush to help over there. Boy, if his eyes could speak 1,000 words.
We'd probably still only get 5.
Yeah. Service for New York. Ball whipped toward target and cleared. It was Teneri. Got dangerously close to a couple sets of hands too.
Yeah, and I think the reason that referee didn't have any decision whatsoever, hands tucked in right on the body. Can't fault any player in that situation. Red Bulls grabbing a little spark here at the close of the first half, trying to get something going, build a little confidence progressing into the second.
Cutler, low service, never got over the first defender. Throw New York, attacking third. It's Basulovic. Early in the season led the USL in passes completed. It's Cutler, the second-round draft pick by New York in the Super Draft 2017. There's a player down. Tarek Morad has got the back right of his cleat hanging below his heel, saying he had been stepped in on. He's having trouble even getting that back up.
That stings a little bit too, just a cleat coming down the backside of your calf, your ankle, Achilles, and all tied into one.
The crowd serenading with "You can't do that," but can they? Another look.
again, the Red Bulls just kind of pushing numbers down, and Bonomo getting away with a little something there, giving him a little knock on the back. Lucky to not go into the book as it was off the ball. Much more intent in that situation.
Free kick ran Jetsing, 44th minute. Heel flick further. Scarlett going up the line. And Del Piccolo got his heel stepped in on as he sent a ball up the left-hand side for Louisville City.
And I think quite rapidly you'll see our referee Soren Stojka start to step in a little bit more aggressive, maybe going into the book here, as there are two very flagrant fouls almost back-to-back in succession, about 2 minutes apart. Surprised he didn't do it there, but again, sometimes when it's a player's first offense, you kind of got to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Two Louisville City players converging on Basulovic. Free kick. Spencer coming back to ping it at the halfway line. 2 minutes of added time. John Wolnick will go to pick up the ball, thinking he can move things along for this New York side, trying to get something going into the locker room.
And they're definitely going to have to go back to the drawing board, as there is just so many things wrong with New York here in the first half. Just miscommunication between the goalkeeper and the back line, poor decision making by Evan Laurel. Back in goal, the amount of space that they are just letting Louisville run all over the pitch with. Again, we talked about the top of the broadcast, Stefano Bonomo just saying how great he was and everything, but that he couldn't do it on his own, that he was going to need the likes of Florian Valot, Aaron Basulovic, Junior Flemings to get in on the act, and we really haven't had them available for the most part in support for him. You can't expect one player to do it all on their own, and on the other side of things, Louisville kind of stood strong in the opening moments of the first half, first 5 or 10 minutes, and then took over the game for the next 20 or 30. Cooled off here a little bit, but again, deservedly so, up 1-0.
Long run for Basulovic to the byline. It's out for a goal kick to Lou City. Louisville, the #1 seed last year. That was New York's role. New York is the 7 seed this season. Louisville finished second last year in the Eastern Conference, and the year prior to that ended up falling to the #1 seed in the conference final. Far fewer upsets in the Eastern Conference the last couple of years. Omby slid in to deflect it off of Cutler and to throw Louisville in the final seconds of the opening half. Smith holding the ball over his head, will never get it thrown in. Soren Stojka blowing the whistle, and there's your hero, Brian Ownby, in the 12th minute, putting Louisville City ahead at the half.
I think James O'Connor and his boys are going to be happy with their performance in the first half for the most part. Again, Brian Ownby proving that he deserves to be in that starting 11, and rightfully so. And need to be careful not to pull off the throttle too much and let New York back into this game. If I'm New York, you got to get things organized a little bit more. Again, very capable offensively going forward, just kind of got to get things tactically back sound, get back on the same page, progress into the second half.
10,000 Louisville City fans to their feet in applause. Lou City has the lead over New York Red Bulls 2 at halftime. Brian Ownby making something out of nothing. A pirouetting goal slid by Laurel. Highlight stats from the first half when we return.
When you live in one of the worst areas in the nation for allergies, you need access to the best allergy care. Family Allergy and Asthma has led the way for more than 35 years, helping patients throughout the region find relief. Call today and end your suffering for good.
I chose Sullivan for the real-world experiences that they provide. I was able to learn about managed care pharmacy while going to school here. People think that pharmacy is just filling prescriptions, but it's really so much more than that. As a clinical pharmacist, I work with patients and providers to improve the prescribing quality and cost of medications. With Sullivan, I was able to graduate in 3 years and go directly into a residency program.
The most important financial decisions aren't made in banks. They're made around kitchen tables and on porch swings. They're made over dinner and over coffee by real people trying to do the right thing for their families, today and in the days to come. We understand that. In fact, it's the reason we're here. We're Main Source, and we want to be a great bank for you.
When you live in one of the worst areas in the nation for allergies, you need access to the best allergy care. Family Allergy and Asthma has led the way for more than 35 years, helping patients throughout the region find relief. Call today and end your suffering for good.
When my hair is too long, I don't feel right. But when I get a cut, I'm me again, only better. My tattoo gets feistier. My crazy eye snaps to attention. I become my own Wi-Fi hotspot.
I just downloaded the entire internet.
And trust falls? They don't even scare me anymore.
That pomade really broke my fall.
Get in, get out, back to greatness. Download the online check-in app. Great clips. It's gonna be great.
Halftime in Louisville for 10,000 anticipated tonight. At Slugger Field, Louisville City 1, New York Red Bulls 2-0 at the half. We welcome you back into the booth alongside Devin Kerr, Mike Watson. We've seen this before, so don't get too excited, Louisville fans. It was in the 11th minute last year that they get the first goal. It's the 12th minute this year in the conference final. But right now, if you're Louisville, you're very happy with what you've seen to this point.
Yeah, I think credit to Louisville. They started extremely slow last week versus the Rochester Rhinos. James O'Connor flipping the script, coming back out, starting hot, getting a goal early, putting Red Bull on the ropes, and it's pretty much been what we've seen most of the first half. And I think we just need a little bit of reorganization from the Red Bulls coming into the second half. Again, two very talented squads, just a little bit frustrating for New York, much happier for Louisville.
Well, before we talk about what needs to change, let's show you what did happen in this first half. First half highlights between Louisville and New York. And Louisville City getting a good start to this match in total, forcing the action upfield. This came in just the 3rd minute.
Yeah, you know, and to be honest, in the opening 5 minutes, we kind of saw some choppy play. Red Bulls having a little bit better of the possession, but the offensive chances definitely came the way of Louisville. As you see Oscar Jimenez getting his opportunity, and I said you want to test the goalkeepers early and often, and it showed Evan Laura was shaky most of the first half.
Popped up by Spencer. Comes down to Ownby, and this is a great pirouetting goal.
Oh, this was exactly what you wanted to see out of your super sub turned superstar, Brian Ownby, again showing you that he deserves to be amongst the names at the top of the USL leaderboards for any stat whatsoever, and he has just shown us over and over and over again what he's capable of, showing you right there, as you mentioned, Mike, great little pirouette, stepping in, nice little turn, finish to the back post, puts them up 1-0 early on.
That 3rd goal of the postseason comes in the 12th minute for Brian Ownby. Meanwhile, the attack would continue. Ownby finding his way into a dangerous spot.
Well, and I mentioned the slow start for Louisville last week against Rochester. Not the case this weekend, and the reason was the wingbacks were able to get involved. Oscar Jimenez, Kyle Smith, very active. But again, even though we're giving credit to Louisville, you need to show Jordan Scarlett there. Gets the ball at his feet, an ill-fated touch, needs to clear that ball out and help his line so he doesn't give them an opportunity that we saw over and over and over again.
Forward to the 22nd minute, and this is a great little give and go.
And we talked about Luke Spencer and the role that he plays. Del Piccolo starts it off, ball into Spencer. Nice little touchback. Del Piccolo trying to pick out the far post, couldn't do so, but again, Louisville just kept pushing numbers forward. Thought they were going to get a second goal as they continued to progress.
Laura would need 2 swipes at this in the 35th minute to keep Louisville from jumping to their second goal.
And that's the miscommunication I talked about. There's just a disconnect all over the field. Brian Ownby getting to the corner, great ball played in, and as Evan Laurel comes out here, he's got the height advantage, he's got the opportunity. Bring that ball into your chest, and if you're going to punch it, make sure you clear it.
Here are the halftime stats, 1-0 to Louisville. The possession heavily to Red Bulls 2, which in some ways is a double-edged sword.
Yeah, 100%. Unfortunately for Red Bulls 2, most of that possession coming in their own defensive third and in the middle of the park, and not able to push it into the final third to challenge this Louisville back line. And, you know, we said the elephant in the room was going to be the Red Bulls defense. I'll tell you what, credit to the Louisville back line as they've really shut down Bonomo up top and his supporting cast.
And really hard to high press a team that does not have the ball either if you're in New York. The Hill is packed tonight. Louisville City bringing a great crowd this evening. If they win, they'll host the USL Cup Final. We'll talk about the bracket and the road to the final when we come back. 1-0 Louisville.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
How can I help my daughter with her reading?
Searching for help with Dachshund breeding.
Why do you not get me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
The 2017 USL Cup will be claimed in just over 1 week on Monday, November 13th at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. But already this year's USL Cup playoffs have not disappointed. With top-notch goals, surprising upsets, and late-game winners, the excitement expected from the talent within the USL has been on full display. This year's postseason has also added new chapters to the league's already memorable playoff history. 2014 was the last year the USL featured a single table, but still brought together two California rivals to square off for a place at the USL Cup. Both in their inaugural season, Sacramento Republic FC and LA Galaxy 2 both made it to the semifinals and faced off in a match that is now known as the Miracle at Bonnie. Two first-half goals from Charlie Rugg put Los Dos up 2-0 at half, but Rodrigo Lopez lifted Republic FC to the win with an impressive hat-trick in the second half that was sealed with a bending free kick in stoppage time. A year later, now in the Western Conference Final, Galaxy 2 once again found themselves in the mix. In their second year as a club and as the number 5 seed, they made their way to their first USL Cup after a 2-1 win against OKC Energy FC. Two first-half goals from Los Dos, including a free kick from Andre Oris, allowed them to hold off a second-half surge from Energy FC. Last year's Eastern Conference Final saw two familiar foes battle it out in a game that was decided on penalty kicks. An early goal from Paco Craig for Louisville City FC was answered by a beautiful set-piece goal by New York Red Bulls 2. The French connection of Vincent Bezecourt and Florian Villot combined for the goal that sent the game to extra time. Red Bulls 2's Ryan Mira came up with the heroics during the penalty shootout to send his team to the USL Cup, which they would eventually claim in a thrilling final at Red Bull Arena. For 2017, clarity will arrive tonight. Who will our final two teams be, and who will host the 2017 USL Cup Final? For USL Network, I'm Morgan Conklin.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing.
I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels.
After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak.
Meals on Wheels, coming to my door as someone who's housebound, having someone check on me, assures me that I'm not forgotten.
Meals on Wheels has given me a mode of freedom that I wouldn't have otherwise.
We're the clients.
We are the clients.
We are the clients of Meals on Wheels.
America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Halftime in Louisville, 3 years into Louisville City. The 2 seed the first couple seasons, the 1 seed now. Up 1-0 over New York at halftime. And we'd be remiss not to mention that Las Vegas Lights is new to the USL next year. And they've got a new logo that they've just put out. If you haven't seen it yet, quintessential Las Vegas. Give it a look. You won't regret it. Meanwhile, here at Slugger Field, Lou City over New York, 1-0. Take a look at the larger playoff bracket when we come back.
Ever wish your allergies would go away fast? You can stop wishing. Because at Family Allergy and Asthma, we can end your symptoms in as little as 2 days with Rush allergy shots. It's the fastest route to relief, and our doctors offer it. Call now.
At UPS, I'm the senior web developer for the Aircraft Maintenance and Engineering department. When I was in high school, I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do. So my senior year, I took advanced programming. It was a lot of fun. It was just like a giant puzzle, and you got to put all the different pieces together and make it your own. The one thing that's really great about Sullivan is it gives you the opportunity to get an associate degree before you get your bachelor's degree. I've already been in my position 2 years and just recently graduated with a bachelor's.
The most important financial decisions aren't made in banks. They're made around kitchen tables and on porch swings. They're made over dinner and over coffee by real people trying to do the right thing for their families, today and in the days to come. We understand that. In fact, it's the reason we're here. We're Main Source, and we want to be a great bank for you.
Ever wish your allergies would go away fast? You can stop wishing. Because at Family Allergy and Asthma, we can end your symptoms in as little as 2 days with Rush allergy shots. It's the fastest route to relief, and our doctors offer it. Call now.
Box combo, please.
At Raising Cane's, we do one thing. And we do it better than anyone else. So why not let our food do the talking? Love in the window. Raising Cane's, only the best chicken finger meals. One love.
Halftime in Kentucky, Louisville City and New York, 1-0 Louisville in the Eastern Conference Final. Back with Devin Kerr, Mike Watts, and these two teams taking long, winding roads to this point. For Louisville, it was a little more clear. They started as the 1 seed, blow out Bethlehem, the number 8 seed, beat Rochester at home to get to this stage. If you're New York, you were a bit of an underdog getting to this point.
A little bit. You know, they squeaked into the 7th spot. But again, we go back to their offense. They've showed all season long that they can score goals, and they've done that very well in the opening stages of the playoffs here. Again, taking Charleston Battery down 4-0, my champs, out early, and then again going on the road and getting that massive victory versus Tampa Bay in extra time. And like you said, the 1 seed, Louisville doing great, 4-0. Then going to Rochester, and Rochester coming to Louisville doing a good job there, taking them down 1-0. So I think the 1 seed early on in the first half of this game showing why they are the 1 seed.
Meanwhile, 6 and 4 out west. How about we show you about how 1 and 7 in the East got to this point? For New York, they're nearly 100 games into this USL experience, and they're not going to change no matter who they're playing. They blow out Charleston in Charleston, 4-0 in the opening round.
Yeah, they came out right away and just started to rip things apart. Again, like you said, a 4-0 drubbing of the Battery, and they have a very experienced back line that could just not get things going whatsoever. And Bonomo and company taking full advantage of every opportunity they had in every way, shape, and form from the spot in open play. You can see Bonomo finishing there in the bottom corner, and they just showed right off the bat that they deserve to be in the playoffs.
That came in the 58th minute against Tampa Bay, and then in the 93rd minute, right at the beginning of extra time, Bonomo would score, and they would have to hold off the siege that was the Rowdies. That's how they got here. For Louisville, it was all at home. Tarek Morad was a shocking hero in Game 1.
Well, it's funny, you and I had the pleasure of calling that game, and Morad was the only one who had not actually put his name up on the score sheet coming down the stretch of the season, able to close it off in the final game, and then coming out, getting to the brace early on, jumping out to that early lead, and just putting the steal away as they just were no match whatsoever for the Louisville City squad.
Spencer would score as a starter. Ownby would score off the bench. Spencer assisting that effort. They would finish 4-0, and Bethlehem dispatched with ease by Louisville City in the 1-8 game. So you move forward to the next matchup, and Rochester is no one's idea of a good time. Bob Lilly's group so well structured, and yet Louisville able to do just enough. Brian Ownby scoring in the last 20 minutes.
You know, Mike, you said that James O'Connor talked about not being able to get things going. Very fortunate in the first half. Came out of the gates in the second half, made some tactical changes. Brian Ownby coming on, and just, again, we cannot stress his importance to this squad day in and day out. And he's just done such a tremendous job. Supporting role, starting role. He's proven he can do it all. And again, moving into this game, I think credit to him going forward, and credit to the Louisville squad carrying that momentum each and every match.
John Wallenick and Ibrahim Sagaya walking their team out. Sagaya, the former Red Bull, one of the assistants on this team now. And if you think about New York in the locker room, I'm not sure that they need to go back to the drawing board and change everything. They just need to attack their game plan a little better than they did, I think.
Agreed. You know, going forward, they are so quick and such a hot offense. But unfortunately, in the first half, you didn't see that. What you saw was the ill-timed passes, unfortunate giveaways, a lot of spacing. I mean, there was at points in time a solid 15, 20 yards in between this back line and the center of the midfield. And Dan Metzger needs to get on the guys and say, hey, listen, you know, we need to communicate better, get things back on track. And I agree with you, Mike. Don't go back to the drawing board. Just get back to your game plan. Meanwhile,
for Louisville City, it's a group that has their 1-0 lead. They got a 1-0 lead against Rochester last week, Ownby in the 77th, but that means they didn't need to hold it for so long. They need to hold it for 78 minutes here. An insurance goal would change the whole paradigm here.
100%. And I think what you saw in the closing moments of the first half was James O'Connor kind of tugging back on that throttle a little bit. Again, they were carrying a lot of offensive firepower going forward every single play. And it's hard to maintain that momentum and that push for 90 minutes. So I think you saw them get the goal, kind of push for a second one a little bit, then just kind of step back, pull on the reins a little bit, see what New York was going to do, how they were going to respond. New York couldn't counterpunch, and Louisville just kind of coasted into the second half with that 1-0 lead.
Aaron Basulovic standing over the ball in red and white for New York Red Bulls 2, the reigning champions on the ropes. They were in the exact same scenario last year at Red Bull Arena, found the tying goal, took it to extra time, eventually to penalties, where Ryan Merrill was the hero with a couple of saves. If this year's Eastern Conference Final is to follow a similar track, we're in for a really wild second half. Here we go. This portion of tonight's telecast is presented by Plainview Apartments, the official housing partner of Louisville City. Ownby sending it up the right. Gets the return ball. Cutler involved on the defense. Throw for New York.
And speaking of communication, Mark Anthony Kay needs to step in there and ask for that ball a little bit more. If that ball comes square twice, once to Mark Anthony and second to Jimenez, he had a wide open shot at goal.
Louisville in purple right to left in this second half is Mark Anthony Kay. Lost the handle. Bonomo. Runs away from Basulovic and into the New York bench. These two teams 1 and 2 in the USL this year in touches inside the penalty area. For Louisville right now, we've seen a fair amount of that. For New York, a little bit less so, finding that all-important possession inside the 18.
Well, and I think talking about the game plan of New York going forward, they've been very unfortunate to not get the guys in the middle of the park going. You know, I said they needed to get it going early and often. They weren't able to do that. But again, very fortunate to only be down 1-0, as Louisville having most of the run of chances in the first half, and they can step up here in the second half. And just, you know, you want to see a little bit more fluidity between Tanari, Velo, Basulovic, Flemings. Obviously, we know Bonomo capable up top, but being isolated at points in time, he really needs the guy to step in, help out with that spacing so they can move numbers forward.
Free kick conceded. New York into the attacking third. Tanari to the right. Basulovic on the left. Lob toward Bonomo, heads it back across, and a shot deflects wide. Last touched by Endam.
And that's exactly what I was talking about in the first half, Mike. You know what? get Ring Jetsing guessing, and you see a great ball floated into the back post here, headed back across. It's going to make everybody shift, and you've seen Hassan and Dom stepping into that spot. Very fortunate to get a touch on it. Thought maybe it should be a corner, but much better from New York.
Goal kick ran Jetsing, who was injured about this time in the Eastern Conference Final a year ago. Was injured in the season opener right before halftime. Since then has been the go-to for Louisville. Ownby spinning by Velo. Ownby keeping still. Metzger broke it up. Ownby deflects off of Scarlett, won a corner for Louisville in the 49th minute.
It's a Louisville City corner kick presented by Raising Canes.
Louisville switching it up a little bit here. They're going to let Del Piccolo have a go. Step in for Jimenez, who's usually on corner duty.
Del Piccolo out of the University of Louisville. In swinging ball, headed towards the net. Laurel makes the catch, diving down at the edge of the 6.
It's a pretty impressive ball by Del Piccolo as well. And Paco Craig about 3/4 of the way to the back post, trying to use his big stature to get up to that ball, unable to do so. Some deep, much better marking though from New York in the back line.
Bounces by Velo and up to Rant Jetsing, goalkeeper for Louisville City. And Endom is down for New York. 50 minutes into the match. Najim and Tenari are back to check on him. Trainer has come on as well. Endom slowly moving toward the touchline. Just 19 years old, having played almost 2,300 professional minutes this year.
It's a testament to the Red Bull organization and recognizing talent at such a young age and getting the right draft picks, pulling in the right academy products, and just continuing to gain experience at every level for each and every player.
High hop up to Spencer, cleared momentarily by Metzger. Ownby feeds it up the right. Ownby cutting in behind. Ownby will shoot, deflects off of Scarlett. Bounces to the top of the 18. It's Paco Craig. Gets the return ball. Craig jogging inside. Reverses for Williams, the former Red Bulls 2 player. And it's Smith on the ground. Couldn't find Ownby.
But I'll tell you what though, Mike, as Louisville's moving this ball left to right across the pitch, you just saw there, it goes to the right side down into the channel, but the ball played down there. Junior Flemings had the opportunity to step up into space, choosing not to do so, giving Louisville another shot to cross that ball into the box, and just needs to keep his head on the swivel a little bit better because he had the opportunity to close it down and he didn't.
Mark Anthony Kay is down rubbing the back of his head vigorously.
Mark Anthony Kay just maybe taking a little bit of a knock to the noggin there. A little high boot as he comes down. Oh yeah, it's actually his boot coming down. You see Tenari going to air, and Anthony already on the ground, just caught a stud to the back of the head.
A little bit of a drag there, and the two meeting briefly, exchanging pleasantries afterwards.
And solid sportsmanship by Luke Spencer, giving the ball back and letting him start over.
So Laura, who's made a save or two, who's Ombi's fantastic strike in the 12th, has proven the difference maker to this stage. Skips ahead for Flemings off the head of Bonomo. Turning on Toch. Flemings going airborne on the back of Toch as they went right up to the byline. Goal kick.
Yeah, good for Sean Toch. That's good defending. You're just waiting for it to roll over the end line. Sean Toch using that 6'2" frame of his to hold off Flemings. See, so it's second in. Does a good job getting in between him and the offender, holding the ball up as Flemings had the last touch, and Flemings just couldn't get by him. Excellent defending for all you kids there at home.
And Jetsing driving a ball 2/3 of the way down the field off of Basulovic. Back to Morad. Last time these teams met, John Wallenick told us the surprising part of what James O'Connor and Louisville did was play more direct than traditionally they had to essentially bypass the pressure of New York's vaunted 4-2-3-1 high press. At this stage, that high press hasn't really created the number of turnovers that one might have anticipated coming in for a group that's playing against a very possession-oriented Louisville City side.
Yeah, Mike, and I think what we saw there was in about the first 5 minutes, though it was kind of wishy-washy and back and forth. Red Bulls did kind of carry a little bit more of the momentum. They were moving the ball around the pitch very well, and Louisville kind of turned it on a little bit, started to go forward, and once they got that goal from about minute 10 until minute 22, 23, they were extremely dangerous going forward and kind of took the wind out of the sails of New York, and they've been kind of fighting back ever since then and have been not able to do so. And again, you said don't go back to the drawing board, just go back to the game plan. That has rolled over here into the second half, and they still can't find anything to get together.
It's a free kick for Paco Craig, who points toward the 18-yard box and from the halfway line sends it toward Spencer. Popped up by Smith high over the 18. Knotted down by Jimenez, and a chance to break out and counter for New York. Skids wide for Flemings. In on Morad, keeping it still. Flemings inside the area. Sends it low and in. It deflects. And New York has tied it in the 57th. Junior Flemings, a one-man show, end to end. And we're level.
And just like that, they say Red Bull gives you wings. I'll tell you what, Junior Flemings was in the stratosphere on this one. Picks the ball up on the left side of the pitch, goes 1-1-1, beats Tarek Morad, gets to the byline, and I'll tell you what, Sean Toch goes to ground there, and just Flemings very fortunate to grab a deflection as it beats Ranjetsing to the back post. And the air here at Slugger Stadium is absolutely flat. Flemings getting his boys on the board. We're knotted at 1.
1 goal in his last 8 games, and now he scores in the 57th minute to level the score at 1. And if you remember, New York leveled the match after Louisville scored in the 11th last year. Well, Louisville scored in the 12th. Ryan Omby, the go-ahead goal, but New York again has equalized, this coming about 20 minutes earlier than it did a year ago. Endom is down for a second time. He had his ankle taped up on the far side bench. This may be it for him. Tim Schmoll is available, the 6'7" native of Switzerland. Could come on as a central defender, and he's shaking hands with Scarlett and Laurel, and Tim Schmoll has moved his way over to the fourth official. Let me tell you about a guy who does not need great clips. That is great clips.
I tried to grow my hair like that once.
It didn't work out, did it?
Not whatsoever.
Hassan Endom off. Tim Schmoll has come on, a substitution that is brought to you by Great Clips. It's going to be great.
And now you want to see how Louisville's going to respond. We talked in the first half about New York not able to counterpunch after Louisville got that opening goal, and they continued to push forward and unable to grab a second, kind of pulled back on the reins. But now New York comes out, gets a goal of their own. They're not carrying much ingenuity going forward. Fleming's taken it upon himself to throw the team on his back and crawl back into this game. And now you got to wonder which squad is now going to step up and try and gain back the momentum and kind of push forth in this match to grab that second goal.
And you got to think, Devin, that this is the breath of fresh air that I think this match probably needed at this point.
Yeah, we lulled out a little bit. You know, about the 30th minute, things kind of calmed down. Had a couple chances close to the first half, but not too much, and now it's starting to open up.
Fleming's entering the left side of the penalty area again, cutting it back. Bonomo was the target. Cleared for a moment. Metzger chasing in on Kyle Smith. And now New York getting that high press to really hit home. Forces the turnover and a throw.
I'll tell you what, Mike, let's watch the right side of that pitch for Louisville and the left side for New York, because that's the second time in about 5 minutes, including the goal, obviously. We saw Fleming step up, go one-on-one. Same situation, gets by Kyle Smith, takes on Tarek Murad. So keep an eye on that matchup.
Tossed in by Najum. It's Schmoll, his first touch of the match. A long ball over the top that's deflected off of Bonomo. Lofted toward Ethan Cutler, who moved from forward to right back. Now playing a left outside position tonight. A four-back look for New York. Menez stepping back. It's the wing in a 3-4-3. Vasilovic stepped in, and now the whistle blowing against Teneri. Del Piccolo nearly dispossessed, but was fouled in the process. This portion of tonight's broadcast is presented by an official partner of Louisville City, Sullivan University. Fans lining the railings. These two teams drew 10,000 at the end of July. It finished 2-1 Louisville. Omby had that snapped away by Scarlett, who's been one of the driving forces in the defensive turnaround for New York in the second half of the season. Jimenez, Omby lets it by, ball through, Omby shooting! Wide! 62nd minute, a chance for Brian Omby to score a brace. They're looking for a deflection. It's just a goal kick.
Brian Omby shocked that this is not a corner again. Jimenez getting forward, trying to play the little three-man game. Ball outside to Smith, into Ownby. Connection last week, trying to connect again. Could not connect the dots. Ownby has a great strike, and I am 100% certain that Evan Laurel got a hand on that ball. How it does not end up for a corner kick, I will never know.
Teneri grimacing as he begins into a jog upfield. 22-year-old out of Holbrook in New York. Laurel boots it away. The Red Bulls 2 side that scored 13 road wins last year, a USL record, but struggled far more on the road this season. Just 3 wins, total of 16 games.
I'll tell you, Mike, going forward now, you got to wonder if Louisville is going to make any changes whatsoever. We've seen some of the boys warming up. As you see someone coming to the middle there, might be a little Rich Bauer look, possibly. James O'Connor trying to move the pieces around. That's going to be the end for Mark Anthony Kay.
Kay out. Richie Ballard has come on, a substitution. That's brought to you by Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
I didn't realize you could echo around the entire stadium, Mike.
Yeah, go figure. Lance does a far better job on PA than I could.
Don't sell yourself short on that cut.
Ballard's first foray into the match. Met by 2 Red Bulls, 2 players. Slips down, keeping it still. And it ends in a goal kick. That was really something.
Richie Ballard putting on a little clinic early on in his shift here in the second half, stepping down into the corner and not missing any emotion. Look at him, 1v2, finds the ball in a little hello. Nice little nutbag, cuts it to the byline, couldn't get it back, but impressive from Richie Ballard.
'64th minute, Red Bulls 2, cutting a ball over the top, comes to Del Piccolo. Scarlett. Fleming's the goal scorer to level it for New York. Ball at his feet. Blazing speed, ball across over the top of Bonomo and swung out of play for a Louisville goal kick in the 65th.
One of the things we brought up, Mike, at the beginning of our broadcast, and also talking about changes that needed to be made, not personnel-wise, but for New York, was the supporting cast in the midfield and going forward, because Bonomo was isolated up top. So credit to Louisville for shutting down Bonomo, but much better here in the second half so far. Again, you'd like to see them a little bit more vision, a little bit more creativity going forward, but you've seen Velo, Basulovic, and Fleming step up a little bit, and it's definitely benefited this New York squad.
Najum nearly made a mess of that. Schmoll heads it as far as Jimenez. Schmoll and Spencer, which is a battle of giants. And a collision from Del Piccolo. A foul.
Del Piccolo not shy whatsoever in the middle of the park, always likes to get a little aggressive.
It's Velo. What a through ball this is. Najum cutting it across. He'll get a second look. Out in front. Shot is wide. Total chaos, and New York can't stick it in.
Almost on cue from Florian Velo, just squeaking it right through Del Piccolo. As I said, Del Piccolo, no shyness in the middle of the field. He's going to be extremely shy after that one and embarrassed. Najum, a great run in behind the back line, but again, good stuff from New York.
Corner for Red Bulls 2. Out toward midfield. Long distance try, deflects down, Velo. That was Craig on defense. And now shot into space. Back pass, Ownby still coming for Loro. Ricochets out to the halfway line, a throw for New York. Pardon, Louisville off the New York deflection. Ownby at the back of Scarlett. Nearly took that away, and now a foul. Threw his leg around Scarlett. Had gotten the ball away, and Scarlett in the end commits the foul.
Yeah, that started off as a good 50-50 challenge between the boys up top, Ownby and Scarlett just going at it, and Ownby picking his pocket there a little bit. Scarlett having a little hack at the end. You're going to get another look. It gets to the end line, excuse me, gets to the sideline, and they're just good old-fashioned tackling. Ownby gets in behind him, and Scarlett just leaves his leg out a little bit.
Ownby in the 12th, 57th minute from Junior Flemings, the first goal allowed in the 6th playoff match in Slugger Field history. 5 straight shutouts snapped by Louisville in their playoff runs of the last 3 years. Del Piccolo started towards the ball. Now he does serve it across. Ball bounces down. It's Spencer who tried to scissor it towards the net. And now New York starts to counter. Into space for Teneri, cut off by Smith.
And that started off fun little ball in. Little 1-2-3 punch between Jimenez and Del Piccolo, figuring out who was going to serve the ball, playing a little mind game with the back line of New York. Nice ball into the back post, and you know, it's very difficult. Little deflection, ball bounces down. Luke Spencer trying to get that 6'2" frame over the top of the ball. That's really, really difficult to do, but you know, Louisville responding a little bit better here.
Velo knocking that ball out with his high pressure, despite it ending in a goal kick, is extraordinarily telling in that New York, I don't think, had one play where they hit that close to home in the first half, and they've done it multiple times in this second half.
Yeah, that's a great analysis, Mike. You're spot on, and they've kind of turned the table here a little bit here in the second half. Louisville struggling to keep up with them.
Bonomo lofting too far. Flemings trying to get in behind again. And Jetsing, good touch by Smith, drawing plaudits from the crowd. Now a ball up the right. Schmoll following Spencer all the way. Brooke Mayo says throw Louisville.
I was just about to say to you, Mike, you got to wonder if James O'Connor is going to go back to his bench and bring in some reinforcements. As you can see all the guys coming off, and he's giving his last barking orders there. I think we have a Cameron Lancaster sighting, as you talked about him having some injury trouble throughout the year.
Bonomo on the run, trying to get in behind Tosh. Bonomo still plays it out toward the front. Ranjetsing in no man's land. Basulovic chasing Tosh still, and for all the problems New York had among their back line with communication in the first half, just as much so for Louisville right now.
Remember the game Jinx growing up, Jinx, personal Jinx. It's jumped over to the other side of the pitch, and you could see Ranjetsing and his back line just not on the same page whatsoever.
Williams turned that over, but isn't made to pay. Popped up by Scarlett, who's working with Schmoll now after the injury to Endom. Central defense for New York. Teneri, Flemings. Ownby intercepts. Cameron Lancaster has handed his card to the official. He'll come on at the next stop for Louisville. Flemings has gotten in behind on the left-hand side, a cutback, and a driven ball over the bar with Bonomo streaking toward the near side post, and a change on the way for Louisville. That's enough for Luke Spencer. Cameron Lancaster on. It's a substitution that's brought to you by Great Clips. It's gonna be great. Lancaster coming on, having scored 7 goals this year. One does wonder who the hero is going to be in all this. Last year it went to penalties, and Ryan Merrill was one who raised the trophy in the Eastern Conference, having a couple of major saves. It was Velo who scored the game-tying goal to keep it alive the final 20 minutes. For Louisville, the story all year has been how subs have made instant impacts throughout the season. Del Piccolo. Lancaster went down at the edge of the penalty area. No foul.
Yeah, good defending for New York. Lancaster's got to give a little peek over his shoulder as that ball is coming in. He's drifting back, and the ball is coming towards him. He's got to realize that center back's going to be stepping up into the space if he wants to retain possession.
Craig lifting over the back line, caught by Aloro with Lancaster on the doorstep. Lancaster, broken big toe, hamstring, concussion. It's just been a year, really a couple of years for him that have just been, pardon the pun, hamstrung by injury.
I was just going to say, you just named the short list this year. Don't forget ACL back in 2015. So like you said, Mike, just kind of over and over unfortunate events for Cameron Lancaster, but such a talented player.
Good turn by Ownby, laying it off. Jimenez cutting, lays it off. Ownby, run over in the area. There's no whistle. It's cleared by Scarlett, and New York back the other way.
And Louisville need to be careful. New York's going to try and counter. They need to make sure they get numbers back on defense, no matter how you feel.
Boos raining down at Slugger Field. Ball over the back line as Ownby moving back into an onside position. Teneri up the right-hand side, 74th minute, level at 1. In the Eastern Conference Final of the USL Cup playoffs. Fleming's 30 yards from goal. Slide challenge misfires from Smith, but picked off by Louisville. Now Ownby, cutting by Scarlett, serving, it's Ballard, shooting, deflected straight back. Ballard, the local kid, almost had a good one-on-one with the keeper from 15 yards out.
You know, I was going to have a little go there at Brian Ownby for a second for not getting back to the task at hand, as you saw him barking at the referee and you didn't want him to go into the book for dissent. But just a good job tracking back and getting back to the task at hand and moving the ball down the pitch.
It's Ownby, nearing the byline, ricochets toward the far touchline. That comes inches away and stops spinning. Flemings is down behind the play. And now it's kicked out by Louisville after they had their effort and attack this a moment ago.
Yeah, I think everybody in the world knew that ball was going to be backheeled to Brian Ownby from Jimenez, and you can just see. Take another look here, slid in behind. That, to me, I'm going to the spot on that one, in my personal opinion. I'm not really sure what Soren Stoica saw in that situation, but open run of play, ball in front of him, defender doesn't get any of the ball, gets all body, full shoulder charge in the box. With momentum, I give a foul, I give a PK.
It's like a forearm into the back of Brian Ownby. In some ways, just a bit out of control. The other side to that fact, as you're well aware of where you are in the field in that moment. And one would think that New York will not have 9 lives to play with in that area of the field moving forward. Schmoll and Loro trying to stretch out Scarlett, one of the 2 center backs. And Scarlett is waving at the trainer to not come check on him so that he doesn't need to exit.
Scarlett came into the game with a little bit of a hamstring issue. Woniak telling us that he was going to be okay, but not really sure if he was going to give a full 90 minutes, gets the start and gets the nod, and 76 into this match, he's starting to feel it as Woniak looking for the thumbs up there.
Fleming's having a conversation with the 4th official, that's Greg Dopka today. Scarlett is still being looked at, and that means he will need to come off, at least for a moment. We'll see how quickly they get waved back in. Hey fans, stay up to date. All the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast. It's Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM FC Channel 85. Don't forget that select games throughout the season, including tonight, air live on SiriusXM FC. Check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. MLS playoffs continuing on SiriusXM FC. And the USL Cup Final next Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. On ESPNU and SiriusXM. Thrown in, Metzger will launch it the other way. That's a throw for Louisville, as it didn't make it to the byline. Louisville faithful are really not very pleased with current run of things.
Yeah, from a ethical standpoint, you'd like to see that ball knocked back to the keeper or to the center back, go chase it, but not the end of the world.
Both players are back in for New York. Ownby. Del Piccolo looked for Ballard on the through ball. And deflected out. Corner for Louisville. They scored on 2 set pieces against New York in the first meeting between these sides at Slugger Field this year. The end of July. Jimenez such a big part of it. Giant crowd tonight, hoping this could be the breakthrough moment in the 78th. Jimenez to the back post. Cleared by 6'7" Tim Schmoll. Back to Williams. Swept aside. Smith launching it over the back line. Nodded backward. Makes an odd hop and is cleared by New York. On the halfway line. Bounces to Tosh and Louisville. This ball finding Ballard. Racing toward the goal, shooting right into Laurel. That from 22 yards out.
Ballard had a nice little crack, little step over move, touch to the right. Has a go at Evan Laurel. Again, both goalkeepers showing a little bit of inconsistency here and there over the course of the game. Evan Laurel much better in the second half.
Tosh. Foot race, Lancaster. Step by Schmoll. Comes to Omby. A little bit of chaotic defense now. Omby cutting it across. Schmoll, not a great clearance. Scarlett goes in hard at the edge of the penalty area and fouled Omby in the process.
I'll tell you what, on that ball by Omby, if he could have gotten it to the back post, there was loads of space as he had one of his teammates streaking in, but again puts himself in another difficult situation.
I beg your pardon, foul going the other way. New York will get a free kick.
I think that's, yeah, our referee stepping in. I think if Ownby jumps up and goes up a little bit more there into the 50-50, just extends his arm out a little bit too much. Again, trying to show a shoulder charge. And just when you don't leave the ground and try and actually make an attempt at the ball, it's easy pickings for the referee.
Hey, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. On that restart, Teneri trying to get a hold of it, and Basulovic committed a foul. And Paco Craig controls against Flemings. A long ball over the top that bounces by Laurel and into his hands, jogging toward the byline. 1-1, 10 minutes to go before stoppage time.
I'll tell you what, Mike, coming down with the final dime on the clock, you got to wonder exactly who's going to step up and rise to the occasion, push their team into the USL Championship, win this Eastern Conference. And though I don't know who it's going to be, the way the run of play has been here in the second half, you almost expect it to be a mistake by one squad and not necessarily creativity by the other.
Basulovic. It's Lancaster. Got it to Omby. Omby off of Cutler, back across. Lancaster headed it wide.
Brian Ownby is putting in some sort of shift here today. The odometer is just gaining step after step, mile after mile. I mean, he has been up and down the pitch all night long. Couldn't get the first ball in. Credit to get the second in, and Lancaster just trying to flick something near post past Laurel. Takes a little deflection off his shoulder and goes out for a goal kick.
10,047 on hand tonight. Just a couple more and pack the stands at Slugger Field when these teams last met. Second most attended game this year at Slugger Field. Conference finals. Swope Park, Oklahoma City on the other side of the bracket, 4 and 6. This number 1 versus number 7. Reigning champions, New York, against a Louisville side that finally got over the hump and got the number 1 seed in the East. They've never lost at home in the playoffs. Defeats coming at the hands of Rochester and New York the last 2 seasons on the road. Close their seasons. Flemings nodding the ball backward. Del Piccolo flying to ground.
Just Late challenge by Junior Flemings on Del Piccolo. They've been very friendly here tonight.
Bonomo chasing after Ranjitsingh. These teams met last year. Both teams were allowed 5 substitutes. It's down to the customary 3 this year. So while Ranjitsingh was injured a year ago in the Eastern Conference Final, it wasn't nearly quite the drag that it could have been, being just 1 of 5 subs. Louisville now has used 1 sub on Luke Spencer. Mark Anthony Kay has come off as well. Looks like their 3rd and final substitute awaits the chance to come on, make his impact felt.
And I think that's a combination of James O'Connor trying to push for the final goal here, and 6 minutes left in regulation play, and also setting his squad up if they have to step into extra time, make sure he's got some fresh legs out there on the pitch.
Intercepted by Jimenez. Service across, cleared Scarlett. It's out for a corner to Louisville in the 84th. Jimenez out of Division II Western Washington. Played with the Sounders U23s, went to Tulsa and then the PDL in Mississippi. Signed from an off-season invitational tryout. Jimenez. Off the head of Ownby. And it's another corner, last touched by Velo.
John Woliniak, I'd like to pipe a little bit of lifeline and energy into my squad if they've kind of stalemated here in the second half after that goal.
Del Piccolo service over Tosh. Basulovic lobs it into open space. Header by Smith, popped up by Craig, comes down to Ballard. Ballard creating space, laying it off, shot is on, but deflected straight back. It's Speedy Williams! Wide left of the post. Former New York player, champion of a year ago, almost put Louisville in front.
Speedy Williams trying to take down his own squad. Nice little 1v1 up top. Ball laid off to Del Piccolo initially. Takes the deflection out to Speedy. Speedy had to go from about 32, 33 yards, trying to pick out that far post. Had Laurel beat, but couldn't put it away.
Louisville reloading again. Ownby widening out toward the far corner. Ballard entering the area. Just a goal kick. Laurel get a chance to boot this away, and a sub on the way. Brian Ownby is done. His goal in the 12th minute was the trendsetter for Louisville City. George Davis will replace him, a substitution that's brought to you by Great Clips. It's going to be great.
See James O'Connor just using his last sub. 3.5 precious moments to go. Would love to get a closing goal here in front of the Coopers and finish off this Eastern Conference playoff race, move to the final. Got a little bit more work to do though.
Davis pops it through. Ballard. Ballard entering the area, cutting back, laying it off. It's Williams, saved by Laurel. Williams, who really isn't known for scoring prowess, just one penalty kick goal this year with 2 great chances down the stretch.
Yeah, Williams just tends to sit in the middle of the park and hold things up, and I'll tell you what, if Ballard can take a look here and find Jimenez on the back post, he's having a tea party all by himself. Unfortunately, Ballard not invited to that party, elects to lay it off end. Still a good look, lays it to Speedy. And Evan Laurel just had his number on that.
3 minutes left before stoppage time. Will it need extra time for a second consecutive year? Bonomo chasing after Toch. His flame has largely been extinguished to this point in this Eastern Conference Final. Scarlett going down, and it was because Lancaster clipped his ankles.
Yeah, that's frustrating as a player. As the ball's played down in the channel, Cameron Lancaster realizing that he needs to just shift his momentum, get to the other side of the player, but to be able to carry your speed, get over the back, and not clip his ankles is extremely difficult to do, and that's just what you see right there.
Seven Laurel. Ballard. Ballard keeping this in, stiff-armed over the ad boards by Schmoll.
I'd be really surprised if Tim Schmoll does not go into the book on that one. What hustle and perseverance by Ballard getting to the line here, and just a nice little touch, and Schmoll running him off the pitch through the barrier and advertisements.
That Modelo sign is never going to be reclaimed, I would think.
The referee didn't even blow the whistle for a foul, gave a throw-in. I guess Ballard didn't get to it. Even if he doesn't get to it, you can't push him through.
Right.
I guess they left it out of his rule book.
It's Smith. Ton of space up the right-hand side. Below closing in. Smith cutting back. Below to his backside. It's Davis. The run never came on the lob into the area. It's Najum. 30 seconds to go before stoppage time. Level at 1. Line drive ahead in Evan Laurel.
And Davis is going to want that ball back. Is not going to get many opportunities left here in the closing moments of this game. And I think he thought Jimenez was going to make that back post bending run, but just because you think someone's going to make it, you can't play the ball and give that valuable opportunity away.
5 minutes of added time in this Eastern Conference Final. Throw Louisville in the defensive third. Schmoll will trot back under control. Laurel will collect. New York has only used one of their 3 available subs. It'll be interesting to see, given that that was due to an injury, who and how they decide to deploy those extra substitutes should we make it to extra time. And Jetsing off the head of Schmoll. Schmoll there to head it again. It's Flemings up the right-hand side. Tosh slid in there perfectly, won the ball, and kept it in play on the near touchline.
Talk about hard work. Great job by Sean Tosh. I mean, your legs are really heavy at this moment in the match, and to just push through that mentally, to win the tackle alone was good enough, yet alone to win the ball.
Throw New York as their pressure forces the ball away. Lob to the top of the area, headed by Flemings towards Bonomo. Bounces down, shot on by Najum. It's deflected out by Louisville. 3 more minutes of added time. And Lancaster was in an offside position on another direct ball over the top.
You can see both squads as we come down the stretch here starting to show their attrition and frustration, as well as it's turning into a little bit of a kickball match. Just kind of need to settle down here, retain possession, and remember what you worked on all season and all week long, especially.
Schmoll lifted off the head of Velo. Cutler, Velo, Cutler the left back, top of the area. Header nodded toward Ranjit Singh, who collects for Louisville City. 4 straight wins, 5 unbeaten, 11 wins at home, tied first in the East. The highest scoring offense in the Eastern Conference this year. Smith has a chance to get this switch, and he does on the right-hand side. Smith, low line drive. Bounds to the top of the 18. Jimenez kept it alive. Davis. Smith won a handball off of Metzger, a bit unlucky.
And I love that ball by Oscar Jimenez. Nice little 30-yard ball across the pitch to his other wingback. Kyle Smith stepping up. Needs to have better service from Kyle Smith, but we talked about the spacing in the first half and Louisville's ability to kind of push Red Bull into awkward situations. That was a good representation here in the second half. Haven't seen much of it. Louisville looking if they can pull out a little bit of magic here in the final moments of this second half.
Jimenez and Del Piccolo over the ball, 30 yards up the touchline. Del Piccolo driving ball off the head of Schmoll. Will stay in play for Louisville, the near side of the 18. Ball bounces down off of Tosh into Laurel. 1 more minute of added time of 5 before extra time to decide the Eastern Conference Final.
I'll tell you what, the creativity earlier on in the second half on that set piece where they gave a little stutter step between the two of them, ending up going on the third. It was clever, it was creative. You don't need to do it again. Utilize it to your advantage. Let the first person step up, hit it the second time, hit it the first time. I don't care if you go back and forth 7 times, but you got to do something different than the original effort.
Velo went up the right, did not have the corresponding run. 30 seconds left, Ranjetsingh a goal kick. Surely a goal now is a conference winner, and a ticket to the USL Cup Final. Anything less, we'll go to extra time. Ranjetsingh, one of the breakout stars of this Louisville City story last couple of years. Schmoll won it again. Absolute magnet. Off that of Williams into space. Collision, foul conceded. Louisville a quick restart. We're at the edge of stoppage time. It's Davis on the right-hand side, driving by Cutler. Played to Ballard inside the 18. Quickly surrounded. Ballard lays it off. Davis, service by Lancaster into Laurel. And now extra time to decide the Eastern Conference. It had to be the rematch. Going to extra time for a 2nd consecutive year between these sides in the Eastern Conference Final.
And deservedly so. Both squads just a tale of 2 halves. Louisville having the run of it in the first. Red Bull stepping up in the second, getting that game-tying goal, and a little bit of a stalwart towards the end of the second half. But again, knotted at 1, and like you said, Mike, would you have it any other way?
10,047, and not 1 is left. 1-1. End of regulation. Extra time is next.
Life is easy here.
And now you can make it even easier with a home equity line of credit from Republic Bank. Even if your mortgage isn't with us, you can get a below-prime 2.99% APR 6-month introductory fixed interest rate with an ongoing variable rate thereafter and no closing costs. Pay off higher loan rates, manage unexpected expenses, or make a home improvement or 2. Stop by your nearest Republic Banking Center and talk to an associate today. We're Republic Bank, and it's just easier here.
When my hair is too long, I don't feel right. But when I get a cut, I'm me again, only better. My tattoo gets feistier. My crazy eye snaps to attention. I become my own Wi-Fi hotspot.
I just downloaded the entire internet.
And trust falls? They don't even scare me anymore.
That pomade really broke my fall.
Get in, get out, back to greatness. Download the online check-in app. Great clips. It's gonna be great.
Pizza, beer, sports. A great combination. Join other sports fans at Boomba's Pizza and Tap House in Louisville, where you'll find what Food Network says is the best pizza in Kentucky. Incredible game day and social hour specials starting at just $2. With an award-winning menu and one of city's best local craft beer lists. Just one bite, and we know you'll love it so much, you'll come back time and time again at Boomba's Pizza and Tap House, your social sports destination.
1-1 full time. Extra time to follow elsewhere at halftime. Swope Park and OKC 0-0 in the Western Conference Final. Back with Devin Kerr, Mike Watson. These two teams met in October of 2016 with the Eastern Conference on the line at Red Bull Arena in Harrison, New Jersey. Different venue, but these two teams after the same prize. That match finished at 1-1 through 90 minutes, and in the 11th minute, it was a fantastic start for Paco Craig and Louisville.
And Louisville got it going early on in that match as well, and Red Bull countering as well as Florian Velo steps up in the 74th minute, getting the game-tying goal, and went to the decisive PKs coming down the stretch. Red Bull just seemed to have more magic and flew in through the Eastern Conference to the championship and took the entire cup home.
Ryan Mara and New York through on penalties, and now we get to this 30 minutes. These teams in some ways aren't used to this. You don't go through this over the course of the regular season. For New York, John Wolnick told us that last week against Tampa Bay, we really had to dig deep to figure this out. It was the 93rd minute that they broke through. A look at the full-time highlights from this one, and it was Louisville in the early going. Got the goal they needed in the 12th. Ownby, wow.
Ownby, Johnny on the spot again, just ball played in, comes off of Spencer, bounces around. Ownby does the best with what he has to work with, able to put it away, and then again, kind of lulled out a little bit. Like you said, Mike, gave it a little bit of jolt that we needed. Junior Fleming's throwing the Red Bull squad on his back and say, hey guys, come fly with me. Let's get back into this match, and tied it up at 1.
12th minute, 57th minute, and if there's 10,047 here, I can't imagine anyone's home right now. If you are Louisville City, you've made your 3 changes. These are the 11 that you ride and die with. You remember last year, is that enough to carry you through 120 minutes?
I'll tell you what, making the changes so late in the second half, I think it is, Mike, to be honest. The problem that they're going to have is they're against the momentum right now. New York scraped their way back into the game. You know, Louisville had a couple little chances at the end, but I think if you're New York, you're feeling good right about now as you clawed your way back. You're sitting 1-1. You've got the opportunity. And oh, by the way, John Wolnick's got 2 subs in his back pocket. You got to wonder if he's going to go to any of them early on here and see exactly what he can do.
You look at those available: Abidor, Powder, Lewis, Mines, and Martinez. Diaz is the backup goalkeeper. Schmoll, the lone sub, at the center of your screen there. Louisville trying to overcome the demons of the past 2 years. They beat Rochester first. Now New York stands in their way of hosting the USL Cup Final next Monday night. 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPNU. We're on Sirius XM FC as well. Against Swope Park or Oklahoma City. Eastern Conference Finals going to extra time. New York and Louisville. The first of 2 15-minute periods has begun.
And if you're Louisville, you come out hot. Try and make a statement early on. Regain a little bit of possession of this match. Gain some of that momentum back that I said has been oh so vital to them. And get your crowd back in and behind you. Because that's only going to frustrate New York even more. Make it much more difficult for them to carry on in this match.
Evan Loro, the second homegrown New York goalkeeper, an academy product since he was 12 years old. Okay, John Wolnick told us has gotten better over the course of this year. A couple great saves laid against Tampa Bay. On this spot in the Eastern Conference Finals. At midfield, Metzger. It's Najum. Downshifting Velo. Couldn't keep for New York. It's Teneri. Intercepted by Craig. Smith. Up the line. Davis, a bit of room to work with. Scarlett alone on an island. Davis trying to race by him. Eventually slid it to Del Piccolo. Ricochets to Ballard. Ballard on his right, shooting Loro down. He made the stop.
You know, when this starts off, I was going to have a go because the ball with Davis's foot on the right side of the pitch. You've got Lancaster and Ballard just standing in the middle. There's no movement whatsoever. Ballard needs to step in. Lancaster to the back post, still doing a good job moving forward. Again, the Red Bulls just letting him back into the match, opening up the back line, and Ballard just trying to unleash that cannon once again.
Lancaster, former Tottenham product. Paco Craig. Ballard allowed it through. Lancaster was coming. Couldn't take over. Top of the penalty area. New York across midfield. Collision. Toach came away with the ball, the defender for Louisville. Knocked ahead to Jimenez, the left back. Below disconnected his efforts with Teneri. Craig rose up. Williams plays it back. And shanked into the stands by Toach.
And Toach just a little bit lackadaisical with his efforts there. Body a little bit tired. And again, those are the things that are going to start to creep into play. Thought it was going to happen in regular time, but coming into extra time, I mentioned before, I said I didn't necessarily think it was going to be from creativity by one team, but a mistake from the other. And that's kind of those mistakes that you're going to see. Your mind starts to slow down, can't keep up with your legs.
Sulovic trying to combine, top of the 18. 4th minute of extra time. Lancaster spins and sends a slip ball that Schmoll brings to Loro.
There's no reason for Cameron to play that ball there. Had a runner on the outside, Kyle Smith coming around, just play the ball out. They didn't have the numbers. Maintain possession. You know, change of place, change of play. Elects to go direct, gives the ball up.
It's Najum, Schmoll. Line drive ahead. Schmoll went in on Lancaster, was able to keep the ball for New York. Teneri in confined space. And it's kicked out. Throw for New York Red Bulls 2 in the 5th minute of extra time. It's 1-1 between Louisville and New York in the Eastern Conference Final. No question that ball was headed to the stands, but that gentleman has hands of brick.
Oddly enough, I actually played with a gentleman in college. His nickname was Bricks. Couldn't catch anything.
That was the reason why?
That was the reason why. Not surprisingly, he was the 3rd backup.
Great spin by Flemings. He's brought down right at the edge of the area. He's not inside. It's a yellow card. That is unbelievably close.
Correct. Morad just beside himself with the tackle. Paco Craig one-on-one gets beat. Morad going to ground. Hard to tell from that angle as to whether or not he deserved a foul on that play. But a very, very tricky opportunity here for New York. And scary for Louisville.
Goes to Craig, the yellow card. He had 7 yellows in the regular season. Oh, will it be Florian Vallot? 10 goals, 7 assists. Not a rider, a Frenchman who calls Monaco his hometown.
This is one of those balls sitting right at the top of the 18, on the edge of the box. You see Vallot stepping away, and
it'll be Ethan Cutler, who scored once all year.
They're so close with so many men on the wall. Expect a lot of pace on this ball.
Ethan Cutler, a driven shot. What a save, Ranjitsingh! How did he get a hand to that? Surely that was earmarked for the corner.
Super pacey for sure. As you said, Ethan Cutler going to the far post, gets a nice little dip on it, and Ranjitsingh just sees it coming all the way, uses the wall, pushes to his right. Phenomenal save by Greg Ranjitsingh.
What a moment for Ranjitsingh in Louisville, but the danger not over yet for New York. What a strike by Cutler, too. It's Teneri, trialist who's in tight quarters in that far corner. Teneri, driven ball, cleared as far as Cutler. Service wound across over Bonomo, headed up by Schmoll. I think Schmoll is an incredible weapon defensively and offensively with that crazy height and the ability to seemingly win everything in the air.
You made the reference of magnet at the closing part of the second half. The ball has been attached to him, and every ball in the air 50-50 for sure. And surprising that Red Bull haven't tried to utilize him a little bit more on the set pieces going forward. But hey, what are you going to do when you got Ethan Cutler standing over the ball with the ability to knock a strike in like that?
Junior Flemings, who scored in the 57th, will cede the throw to teammate David Najm. Came out of the 4th division in Germany. 4-time All-Ivy at Columbia, someone they were looking at for a long time in the Red Bull organization.
He's done very well for them in his career with the organization. His brother actually playing over at Bethlehem Steel, and slides into the middle of the park trying to make a name for himself as well.
Away from Metzger. It's Najm. Slips for Bonomo, who shoots on first contact into Ranjitsingh. Nine minutes gone in Eastern Conference quarter, or rather conference final, I should say, first extra time.
You can feel the pressure starting to mount a little bit more for Louisville as confidence continues to grow for New York moving into this extra period. And it's eerily reminiscent of the start of the second half. Louisville going to look to regain a little bit of their composure. Again, so impressive in the first half, pushing numbers forward and looking very dangerous. Not so much here.
Davis, overlapping run. It's Smith. Laurel down, making the stop on what is a very small field. It can very quickly turn into a bit of a barn. These two teams get up and down in a hurry.
Almost on cue. The boys in purple trying to make me eat my own words as the ball gets sprayed out to the right side. And that's a difficult ball to hit, though. Bouncing ball, like you said, Mike, through this pitch. Bounces weird in general, yet alone with the different surfaces, and lucky enough to get it on frame.
This is the 6th game that's gone to extra time in the USL Cup playoffs so far. You would know a lot better than I. What does it feel like physically when you get to this stage, having played the full 100 minutes?
Feels like you're standing in a pile of cement, and it consistently builds on you, and minute by minute, yard by yard, every part of your body begins to shut down. And you know what? Credit to New York, as Wojnak has not gone to his bench. Only the one, which was out of necessity to the injury on Ndam. And these guys just continue. I mean, it's a credit to their conditioning and what they do behind closed doors that they've only done that, and you're in the 101st minute of this match.
Sulovic was down.
It looks like he's got a double cramp there, the way that he's walking. Both of his calves going on him.
Fourth official has numbers on his board now. Mines, the 16-year-old from Ridgefield, Connecticut, is going to come on for Basulovic. The 21-year-old hails as well from New York. It's a substitution that's brought to you by Great Clips. It's going to be great. Mines did not play once from the end of May to the 19th of August. He's played 3 in a row since the 15th, the end of the regular season.
You saw Ben Mines stepping onto the field there and just kind of taking a glimpse and bringing everything in, surveying it, just kind of taking a deep breath, going, whoa, and now he's got to put his head down and get to work.
And Jetsing launching it away after a couple minute stoppage for everybody to maybe catch their breath. No more subs for Louisville, 1 more for New York. Ballard trying to get in behind Schmoll. Calm as ever. Came to the U.S. for an education to go with soccer. 4 years at Harvard. That counts. Dumped into space. Kyle Smith, the right midfielder for Louisville. Cutting over. George Davis. Davis will have a goal! Wide right of the post. Loro gave it a dive. It was out of his reach and out of play as well.
You got to wonder what's in the water at Louisville, as James O'Connor has definitely had these guys doing a little bit of targeting practice week in and week out, and we've seen it multiple times tonight. The likes of Ballard, Lancaster, and George Davis there. Almost wonder if that's going to be the breaking point of this game.
Mines. Ricochets off of him. It's Fleming's left-hand side. Off the back of Morad with so much pace that it bounced off his back and over the 15-foot high wall behind Ranjetsing's goal. 14 minutes into extra time, still 1-1. There will be a minute or two of stoppage to go with this. Lifted to Cutler, who had the best chance of this extra time period on a 19-yard free kick. Ball across, Bonomo tries to square it. Schmoll giving chase off of Tosh. Drove it off of Schmoll in the end and over the end line.
Jetsing just trying to give his boys a little bit of a break, catch their breath. This launch right here into the back of New York will probably be one of the final chances of the first half of extra time.
Got it back, and Ranjetsing on the ball again. First extra time period has elapsed into 1 minute of stoppage time, largely due to the injury. Proved to be the end of the night for Aaron Basulovic. Williams sprays along the halfway line, ball over the right-hand side of the defense. Scarlett chasing after it. Davis spinning around off of him. That'll stay in right on the byline. And now a foul against George Davis. How that ball hung up on the chalk is going to be unclear to mathematicians and physicists for all time.
Fortunately enough for you, Mike, I just figured it out. And the reason it stayed in play was because of your great commentating.
Yeah, that wasn't it.
Yeah, but good defending by Jordan Scarlett coming down the stretch here. I mean, that was very, very difficult to do. And you know what? You got to be frustrated if you're George Davis, because you work so hard to keep it in play that just as Lancaster is stepping over to help you out, you give up the foul.
End of the first extra time. Louisville and New York level at 1. You think the players are tired. I think some of these fans are probably a bit beat too, but that won't slow them down. 15 minutes gone, 15 more to go. The second extra time. If needed, penalties to come from Slugger Field. We're level at 1.
Life is easy here, and now you can make it even easier with a home equity line of credit from Republic Bank. Even if your mortgage isn't with us, you can get a below-prime 2.99% APR 6-month introductory fixed interest rate with an ongoing variable rate thereafter and no closing costs. Pay off higher loan rates, manage unexpected expenses, or make a home improvement or two. Stop by your nearest Republic Banking Center and talk to an associate today. We're Republic Bank, and it's just easier here.
When my hair's too long, I don't feel right. But when I get a cut, I'm me again, only better. My tattoo gets feistier. My crazy eye snaps to attention. I become my own Wi-Fi hotspot.
I just downloaded the entire internet.
And trust falls? They don't even scare me anymore.
That pomade really broke my fall.
Get in, get out, back to greatness. Download the online check-in app. Great clips. It's gonna be great.
Pizza, beer, sports. A great combination. Join other sports fans at Boomba's Pizza and Tap House in Louisville, where you'll find what Food Network says is the best pizza in Kentucky. Incredible game day and social hour specials starting at just $2. With an award-winning menu and one of city's best local craft beer lists. Just one bite, and we know you'll love it so much, you'll come back time and time again at Boomba's Pizza and Tap House, your social sports destination.
105 minutes in the books between Louisville and New York. And in the middle of your screen, Ben Mines, 16 years old, out of Connecticut. He's played with the U17s and the U18s. This is his 11th USL appearance, and 52 in white somehow could play a massive role in the Eastern Conference Final of a professional championship match, a trophy on the line, at 16 years old.
Yeah, it's staggering just to think about. You say the words, but, you know, it's a testament to what John Jelinek feels about him and this New York Red Bull organization, what these kids are capable of at the age of 15, 20, 25, what have you. You and I were speaking about it. It's kind of similar to the Bethlehem squad, where they go out and they say, you know what, we trust them. We're going to throw them into the limelight because we think that they're more than capable of getting the job done.
I beg your pardon, 17 in May. That really changes the point very much. The U.S. Youth International playing a big role here. New York is to get through to the USL Cup Final for a second consecutive year. On to the second half of extra time. New York got in the last weekend of the regular season, one of 3 open playoff positions for 4 teams in the East. Orlando City B fell out. Cincinnati, New York, and Bethlehem found their way in. New York defending the goal to our right. It's the purple of Louisville going left to right in the second half of extra time. Lobbed ahead by Morad.
I think one of the biggest differences we've seen in the second half of this match is the wingbacks from Louisville, because Kyle Smith and Oscar Jimenez have been almost non-existent since the first half run of play. And as you come down further and further, it's going to become less frequent because, like we said, you can become more tired mentally and physically. It's a lot more difficult to make those 30, 40-yard runs every single play, which in this system that James O'Connor has set up for him, they are so vital on each and every possession.
And early on, it was a 4-3-3 look for Louisville, but the play of those two allowed them to switch to a 3-4-3 about a month into the season, and they really haven't looked back. Chance here for New York. Ball carrying to the top of the 18. Velo spraying up the right-hand side. Jimenez shielding the ball away from Mines. He falls down. Chance for New York to serve. Ball line across. Comes to Velo! Driven shot is wide of frame.
See Paco Craig just shoving Jimenez out, saying, you know what, get over it, get out of it, let's get on and upward. Jimenez just losing his footing, and as the ball's played across, Del Piccolo gets ahead on it, comes out to Velo at the top of the box, takes one touch and cannot put it on target. 108th minute, these guys are starting to get tired.
Over 70 minutes gone between Swope Park and OKC in the West. They're scoreless. Winners on to the USL Cup Final. Ball threaded through on the right-hand side. Ball toward Bonomo. Cut out at the vital moment by Tosh. Williams met by Mines. The high pressure coming on from New York. It's Mines again. Williams touched it away. Ballard, second half sub. Tries to clear, headed by Velo forward. And now Lancaster on the turn, attacking the defense. Slide by Scarlett is on point. Louisville goes backward. Smith threads it through. Davis cuts it across. Player goes down in the area. It's cleared. And Lancaster really more tripped up of his own volition. Quick throw in for Morad. 109th minute, Eastern Conference Final. Louisville in possession. It's level at 1. Mines won the throw for New York. He's been a nice shot in the arm.
And Oscar Jimenez on the left side having to deal with the fresh legs of the youngster Ben Mines is starting to turn his match in the wrong direction, as he is adding insult to injury. First the slip, a little turnover there. You hope there's not a third one in waiting.
Header comes to Smith on the near touchline. Carrying ahead, found Davis, who was through. He put it over the bar, but the flag was up for offside regardless, and I'm pretty sure Davis knew it before he struck it.
It's the tiredness coming into play as well, and George Davis just got caught ball watching a little bit as Kyle Smith cut in. Thought Kyle Smith maybe put it on his left foot, have a go himself, decides to lay it off, and Davis just got caught watching. Offside call.
Davis with 1 goal in his last 17 games. Guy who had better financial offers but played with James O'Connor in Orlando. Knew the vision that he did have. One of the wing players that's made a big impact for Louisville. Ball finding the middle of the area. Comes to the top of the 18. Shot is on and wide. Teneri. And hit back by Flemings. In the end, just a goal kick.
And the reason that they even had an opportunity there was the creativity by Bonomo as the ball swung across. Unfortunately, it's played behind him, but he's still able to get a heel on it and deflect it out to the top of the box, let one of his teammates run onto it.
Look at the youth in that front row. Over 10,000 tonight. Louisville showing their credentials as one of the great fan bases in the United Soccer League this evening. It's Davis on the cutback. Smith wasn't getting forward. Cutler. Foul against Del Piccolo. Just short of the halfway line. New York free kick. 112th minute. We inch closer to penalties. 3 times this year, game has gone to penalties in the playoffs. Cutler tosses in. Davis won it away. It's Ballard keeping still, slid in. Couldn't get Jimenez, unlocked up the wing. Metzger lifting up the right side. Headed towards the net. A one-hopper that ran. Jetsing will handle from 15 yards out.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Ballard needs to pick his head up. The wingbacks are already tired. You've got Jimenez streaking down the left-hand side of the pitch, playing the ball into space. Let him run onto it. Give your team an opportunity going forward. Instead, he turns the ball over. New York goes the other way, and Jimenez has to backtrack 40 yards.
Ballard drew the foul, 30, maybe 35 yards from the byline in the attacking third.
If you're in New York, you've just given up a very dangerous set piece, not too far from your own goal, so you want to stay organized in the back. Make sure you stay in touch with Evan Lauro, get a little two-man wall going on out there and get things organized. And if you're Louisville, get your big boys up top ready, swing something in right around the penalty mark, let someone run onto it.
Two fakes. Jimenez. Well, all the flash and dazzle of it, but none of the outcome.
I would say that that was poor, but that would be kind.
Douglas Martinez will replace the goal scorer, Junior Flemings, in the 57th minute. Flemings doing it all on his own here.
And again, they just came out at the start of the second half, and you could feel the emotion and boiling point starting to build for New York, and Flemings just threw him on, kept going.
The substitution, of course, is presented by
Great Clips.
It's going to be
great.
Flemings is done. Martinez is on. It's the final sub for either side. With Devin Kerr, Mike Watts alongside our entire team in Louisville. 115th minute now. Martinez, who scored in his debut for New York Red Bulls too. Cutler. Metzger playing through. Martinez couldn't latch on. Martinez is going to be a real task for Smith here down the stretch.
Fortunately enough for Kyle Smith, he's only got a few moments left. 5.5 and change, not including any extra time that may be added on to mark those fresh legs of Martinez.
Red Bulls flying up the field. Najim strikes a ball over the back line toward Martinez, who circles around to try and retrieve, but Smith pokes away. Cutler in for Martinez. Cutler driven ball. It's won by Williams.
When you reach this stage in the game, it's just about who wants it more. Obviously, everybody has plenty of talent to be on this pitch, or we wouldn't be here. And you're 116 minutes in, you're tired, you're dirty, you're distraught. If you're Louisville, you've got to be having a feeling of deja vu as third consecutive final, and they haven't been able to close it out yet. But you got to dig deep, either one of these squads, and try and finish it off.
Valo, won by Williams in a big collision. Two players very unlucky to go down as they did. Del Piccolo ran right into him. Chance now for Ballard attacking. Step by Scarlett. It's Martinez. Hit forward by the Honduran to Ranjetsingh. Louisville sprays it right back out. Teneri is down but has to continue on.
Just prior to that ball being swung into the box, Jordan Scarlett coming up very gingerly with that hamstring issue. I told you to keep an eye on it earlier. I think he just overextended himself a little bit.
This time Scarlett steps forward and dispossesses Lancaster.
Just as I say it, you know, you see him limping right there all over the pitch as everybody's starting to cramp, but steps up and again continues his good run of form.
Valo is still down, working on that right leg. Najim now stretching out his left leg. Referee has stopped play and kept the trainer on the touchline. Valo having both legs worked on. Soren Stoico with a hand extended. Trying to bring him back to his feet is to not bring the trainer into the equation. Everybody stretching out now. 118th minute. It went to penalties last year. In both instances in the Eastern Conference Finals, Louisville led first. New York responded, took it to extra time. Best chance so far has been Cutler's free kick. A great save by Rand Jetsing. Keep this in level terms. Cutler on the switch. Najim racing ahead. Service takes a deflection, hops across, and out for a goal kick.
Rand Jetsing just switching sides here, letting those seconds tick, 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 tick off the clock. And now James O'Connor and John Molyneux going to have to figure out exactly what order, if any, again, a few seconds left, will be the deciding factors in their spot kicks.
Cutler. Chance for New York. Final minute of extra time. Williams stepped in. Chance for Louisville to counter. Ballard making a run. Schmoll at his feet. Surrounded. Scarlett. For Cutler. There won't be any added time. This, the final potentially 20 seconds. Metzger for New York, attacking half. A goal here would seal the Eastern Conference and a ticket back to the USL Cup Final. It's kicked out at the halfway line. Referee stares down at his watch. Tossed into Velo. Velo, a driven ball into the penalty area, bounces towards Bonomo. It's picked up by Rand Jetsing. And that's it, full time. It'll take penalties in the Eastern Conference Finals for the second consecutive year.
Tell you what, a little bit of last minute delusions at Grand in the back line for Louisville. Very fortunate for Tarek Murad and Greg Rand Jetsing. But as you said, Mike, 1-1. Once again, going to penalty kicks. Some tired legs out there. Got to gather your thoughts, gather your emotions, push them to the side, remain cool, calm, and composed, and get back to the task at hand.
Look at the highlights from this affair. We're level after 120 minutes of Eastern Conference Final play. Slugger Field in Louisville, Kentucky. And in the early going, Brian Ownby putting Louisville off to the perfect start.
And we talked about the role of Luke Spencer, and uses that big body, gets up, able to fend off the back line. Scarlett asking for a handball, but no, sir. Murad playing it in. You see, just doesn't get a great touch on it, but enough to stifle the back line, and Ownby gets a mistouch. Backline misses it. Ownby goes far post. Laurel can't get to it, and Louisville goes up 1-0 early on.
Comes in the 12th minute. Ownby's third of the playoffs. Chances to add another. Caught by Laurel on the corner kick.
And they came out flying in the second half for the first 2 or 3 minutes, but you know, Laurel, good for him. Got a much better communication, and Red Bulls just fired back. And how about the effort from Junior Flemings? Just a nice little flick on by Bonomo. Flemings taking 1, 2, 3 players on, gets a deflection into the back post. And at the start of the second half, the Red Bulls were flying, and they tied it up 1-1.
57th minute for Flemings. It's his 10th goal of the season in 2,100 minutes. And it's level 1 apiece. Louisville trying to find a late go-ahead goal. Ownby breaking through. Save made by Laurel.
This starts off from Jimenez in the midfield, cutting in from that outside back position, and ball out to Smith, down into Ownby, tries to go far post, couldn't pick it out, coming down the other way. How about Ethan Cutler with this opportunity? Closing moments of the game. Greg Ranjetsing with an absolutely phenomenal save. And Cutler going far post, said it was going to come with pace. It came with power and more, and Ranjetsing rose to the occasion, making an excellent save.
Continuing still, this is Bonomo's rare chance in this game.
He has been quiet for sure. Credit to Louisville in that back line. They've been able to shut him down for the most part. But again, we talked about who was going to step up and show what they were capable of. Florian Valo, Tenari, Vasilovic, Flemings, they all stepped up and showed that they were willing to rise to the occasion and help their friends out.
And this, in the final moments, a chance for Valo to find the go-ahead goal.
Yeah, Oscar Jimenez, very unfortunate on the side, just lost his footing. Ball gets sprayed in, Bonomo gets a touch, comes out, goes near post. And now we are headed to the dreaded penalty kicks.
Elsewhere, 83rd minute, scoreless between Swope Park and Oklahoma City. Jose Angulo in that group playing at Children's Mercy Park. For Swope Park, the 4 seed, they've got to be the favorite. It's a good crowd on hand tonight, but Oklahoma City has a way of taking things late into games, don't they, Devin?
100%, and you got to wonder when the offensive prowess of Angulo and Waj and Miguel Gonzalez, Juan Pablo Guzman, when are they all going to step up and get going forward? Jimmy Nielsen loves these guys and says that this is one of the most talented squads he's had on the pitch and off. But like you said, carrying an 83rd minute, don't be surprised if you see something late.
And a shot that rings just wide. This the 83rd minute of the Western Conference Final between OKC and Swope Park. Not a bad effort at it.
Oh, good ball in by Jose Bardil, and just trying to pick up that upper corner.
Brown, a late season addition for Oklahoma City. Meanwhile here, we are headed to spot kicks. The team's on their way out. Devin, walk me through what these moments are like as a player.
Well, I'll tell you what, first and foremost, this is one of the best ways to win. It's also the worst way to lose. So make no mistake about it, there is a lot of emotion. But as you're coming out onto the pitch, if you're one of the kickers, just kind of gather yourself, stay composed, grab a last-minute water, and just realize that, you're only going to get one shot at this, and you just got to step up, pick your corner, and stay confident in yourself.
Look at all the Louisville fans that are running along the top to try and get to the other side. They're shooting away from the supporter section. New York will shoot first.
And that's exactly what I talked about right now. They always say that this is a band of brotherhood. Band of brothers, and the brotherhood being shown right there by each and every player. You're going to go down the line, and maybe they'll hold hands, maybe they'll lock wrists, arms around each other's shoulders, but that is a long, long, lonely walk that very few players are going to get to take tonight.
Confidence goes a long way. Injuries, the story of Stefano Bonomo. 13 goals in 15 games, twice including at the penalty spot against Tampa Bay. The first spot kick, it'll go 5 rounds and then sudden death if there's not a winner. New York to go first, Ranjetsing in goal. Bonomo and Ranjetsing. Bonomo scores, calm, cool, and collected, sends Ranjetsing the wrong way, and New York leads.
And that's classy by Bonomo. Like you said, haven't able to call his name all night long. Been shut down for the most part. Tried to make his presence felt here and there, but might be a long, lonely walk, but gonna have a lot more confidence in himself, just stepping up and nodding it away in that bottom left-hand corner.
Kyle Smith, 4 goals this year. Arrived on an open tryout, became an Iron Man a year ago. Evan Loro in net, the rookie out of Michigan, to level the score for Louisville in the first round. Kyle Smith has scored. 1-1.
Kyle Smith looking like a seasoned veteran there. He's actually the USL mid-season defender of the year, and he's going on the offensive side of things there. Steps up with his instep, pushes it into the bottom corner. That's an excellent PK.
Douglas Martinez, loaned in April, scored in his first Red Bulls 2 game, has dealt with injuries. The Honduran give New York the lead again. Martinez just by Ranjetsingh, who guessed right, and New York back in front.
Greg Ranjetsingh just hesitated a tiny little bit to his left there. Takes one little tiny step, hesitated a little bit, could not get down to the bottom corner. Not the greatest of efforts by Douglas Martinez, but gets into the back of the net nonetheless. New York at 2.
Paulo Del Piccolo, the captain. Del Piccolo, what a save by Laurel, and New York is in front. The captain, the star out of the University of Louisville. Louisville down 2-1.
Credit to Evan Laurel, but Del Piccolo just telegraphed his entire shot, opened up his body. He's got a great left foot and can put the ball all over the pitch, anywhere he wants, drop it on a dime. But in that situation, just showed the keeper exactly what his cards were way too early.
Florian Vallot. Last year, trained in the spring, he wanted to finish college at Rider. Showed up midseason, helped them to the USL Cup Final. The 24-year-old Frenchman scores. And New York ahead 3-1 midway through the third round of penalties.
Florian Vallot saying, I'm smart, I know what I'm doing. You got to have some sort of nerves to step up and drop that right down the center of the goal. You can see him just classy, done it a million times, no issues whatsoever. And New York hits 3 straight.
For Louisville, this is a massive spot kick. It's Sean Tosh against Laurel. Tosh drives it right. And it is 3-2. New York still in front through 3 rounds.
And the vital importance of that kick could not be stressed, like you said, Mike. And Toach just, you know what, I got it, boys. Let's settle down. I got this, I'll carry us. The third and decisive kicker keeps them in the match.
For New York in the 4th round, 17-year-old Ben Mines. Mines saved by Ranjetsingh. And Louisville have a chance to draw level in the 4th round.
What a save by Greg Ranjetsingh. And you said Ben Mines could play a vital role in this game. He's hoping that it is not on the negative side of things. Ben Mines stepping up. Just a poor PK from the youngster. He's going to need a few more reps, but credit to Ranjetsingh. Just kept his eye on the ball. Little step to his left. Solid save. And Louisville going to look to tie it up on this one.
Oscar Jimenez leads the league in chances created. This, a giant chance to give Louisville a shot to get in the driver's seat. Does Laurel have another save in him? Jimenez with the stop and the score. Unreal confidence from Jimenez, and it's level through 4 rounds.
And that is just mind game after mind game. Evan Laurel chewing his gum, trying to figure out which way he's going. The bending run, the stutter step. I mean, the poise that takes. That is a boatload of confidence, especially after all the things that he's been through in this match, up and down the pitch all side long. And it's going to come down to these final 2 men.
Ethan Cutler, 3rd all-time in goals for Colgate. Ranjetsingh, chance to put Louisville ahead. Cutler, off the crossbar, it stays out. Ranjetsingh, an unbelievable stop. And Louisville can win it now.
Oh, I can't believe it. Greg Ranjetsingh. Wow. I mean, what a save that is. A dive to the right, gets the tiniest little bit of deflection, hits the crossbar, comes down. How that doesn't go in, I do not know. And here we go, folks. Last one.
Reminders of last year with Ryan Mara off the crossbar. Lauro to keep it alive. It's the hometown kid, Richie Ballard, to put Louisville in the USL Cup Final. Ballard scores! Louisville wins it in penalties. They've won the Eastern Conference, and they're through to the USL Cup Final, which will run through Slugger Field on Monday night. The first hometown player in Louisville's 3-year history from DuPont Manual High School. The University of Indiana champion. And now the game-winning goal as Greg Ranjetsing, 2 massive saves, including one off the crossbar, to send Louisville into a state of entire delirium.
Well, a well-fought match for both of these squads, but the maintenance crew doing a little bit of tidying up as they don't want the fans to get a little bit too unruly. But like you said, Mike, coming down the stretch, just Ben Mines stepping up, Ranjetsing, phenomenal save. Ethan Cutler stepping up, phenomenal save. Greg Ranjetsing just proving the leadership over and over. And you know what? I questioned some of Ballard's decision-making coming down the stretch. He moved into some open spaces, didn't put the ball into supporting cast. And Richie Ballard steps up with the 5th kick, puts it into the bottom corner, and thrusts his squad into the USL Final.
Finally over the hump. And nobody's surprised. Tonight's save of the game is brought to you by MagnaWave, the leader in pulsed electromagnetic field therapy. Greg Ranjetsing, reminders of how Louisville fell a year ago, knocking the ball off of the crossbar in the 5th round of penalties.
And you're going to say Ethan Cutler here again, just set-piece specialist, had a great strike. Ranjetsing had his number then, he's got it again. Cutler steps up, goes across his body, and Greg Ranjetsing will do and take whatever he can to keep his team alive. Each little inch, every bit of post, a little bit of the white line, but not across it. Good for you, Greg Ranjetsing.
Two years of abject heartbreak wiped away, and maybe the only way it could truly be absolved, penalties. And Ranjetsing and Louisville finally get to hoist a trophy that their fans have waited so very long for.
They say 3rd time's a charm, and you kind of wondered if the visions of delusion were going to creep back into play for this Louisville squad and city and everything. But it's not going to happen. They're going to move on to the final as they await the winner of Swope Park and OKC.
Number 1 seed is through. Oklahoma City and Swope Park level through 75 minutes. Finally, something to put on the mantle for Louisville City. For New York, their bid to repeat comes to conclusion. This was a really good effort, especially the second half. A New York team that showed a champion's medal on the road.
Well, I think it shows you the class of this organization top to bottom. And you know what? Wozniak said to us midweek he wasn't going to change anything, that he had confidence in his squad. Like you said, just a tremendous effort to come into this environment and deal with this 90 minutes, 105, 120, into PKs. The emotion that is thrust through your body and the physical attrition that it takes on you to jump into the playoffs as a 7 seed and make your way through. I mean, they beat the 4, they beat the 3, they took the 1, and title contender to the ropes. They just couldn't finish him off. Silver lining, they got to hold their heads up high.
Jimenez making his spot kick when it mattered most. This Louisville City franchise last couple of years has come tantalizingly close. This moment of euphoria. We've finally gotten through. James O'Connor extended through 2020. The Metro Council a week and a half ago approving their stadium plan in Butchertown. There's a banner to hang in that new stadium.
All right,
this may not be it.
Presentation. So fans, please stay in your seats. Gordon Basin, Vice President of Competition here
from the USL is going to make the trophy presentation on the pitch.
Greg Ranjetsing letting it all hang out now.
Before we present the Eastern Conference Final trophy,
James O'Connor,
let's get a few words from
Orlando.
Coach O'Connor. Coach O'Connor, where are you?
To lead this franchise. Then moved from Orlando, kept those familiar purple colors.
We'll give Coach O'Connor a minute.
James O'Connor, the look of a man who's finally reached the top of the mountain in the Eastern Conference. A man who showed unwavering belief in his team. And now we hear.
All right, Coach O'Connor, I know you're proud of this team and these fans. What do you got to say to these folks out here?
Oh, look, just incredibly proud moment for the football club. I mean, it's been an absolutely fabulous year. I mean, I'm just incredibly proud of all the players and everybody here tonight. It's an incredible moment for us, and obviously an emotional time for us all. But I mean, for the players to do as well as they have, to see so many supporters here, it's fabulous. So really, really pleased.
Congratulations, Coach. This is awesome. Hey, let's get a few words from our team captain. Where's Paolo? Paolo, what do you got to say to all these supporters out here, my man?
University of Louisville.
Yeah, we just want to say thank you, guys. We got one more to go, so come out for the final. Let's have some fun.
Reminding us Monday.
Congratulations, every single one of you. We're all so proud of you. All right, it's now time to make the presentation of the Eastern Conference Championship. Let's hear it one more time for your Louisville City FC!
Paulo Del Piccolo, this is a long-awaited hoist. The Eastern Conference champion, Louisville City FC in 2017. To think that's the small trophy. On Monday it'll be OKC or Swope Park. Just 8 days away. Take on this Louisville City team at Slugger Field in the USL Cup Final on ESPNU on SiriusXM FC if you're lucky enough to find a ticket.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, if that's the small trophy, can't wait to see the big one, and just motivation for all these guys. Credit to each squad. Red Bull 2. Down and done. Got a little bit dirty, but they worked hard, and Lou City moving on to the final. And you cannot imagine the jubilation running through those fans' hearts and veins.
The Coopers stream out. And this celebration will go long, long into the night. Ranjetsing being hoisted up by the fans. A heroic performance, not soon to be forgotten. New York Red Bulls 2 title run comes to a conclusion. It will not be back-to-back. Brian Ownby in the 12th. The response from Flemings. 120 minutes of intense effort. And Greg Ranjetsing, the saves necessary to put Louisville City through. For Devin Kerr, Jose Ontivero, Scott Ferguson, Ava Ponte, and our entire team in Louisville, Mike Watts saying Monday is just 8 days away. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent from the United Soccer League.